at 1 minute, right?
Okay, everybody, here we go, and I have an interesting match in front of us from the get-go. As today we're gonna cover a lot of top-level play, and this here is from the once fully American group. Now that Navosta, aka Ixnelio, had to drop out, nearly fully American group, and two of the American players in front of us, two high-level players with Monkey versus Icarus. Icarus having played quite a lot of tournaments lately, being really high on the ladder as well, and showing off a lot of those games on his YouTube channel as well. But on the right side, Monkey, relatively black horse in Division 1, as we only have seen Monkey so far in ranked games, with really high performance there, top 10 for a long time. But we don't know how well Monkey will perform in tournaments, so it's going to be really interesting here. And what do you think about the division picks here? All right.
I gotta say, I don't know who is counterpicking who, because obviously TKS Terror Commando Sud is generally known as kind of a second-rate division, something that you have to play creatively to be able to overcome. It's very obvious. Hello, I'm Chloride, by the way. It's very obvious shortcomings, such as the fact that it basically has no modern tanks. But what it does have is a very good infantry opener with, for instance, the VLRI 20mm French forward deploying AA cars, giving it the ability to basically do one of the best recon rushes in the game, followed up by massive amounts of air spam and endless hordes of West German young boys. The AMX-10 RCs, the French forward deploying recon cars with their amazing guns, are one of the best weapons to have in the opener in the game. Green Berets have excellent infantry weapons and the special forces, and from the sixth, even though the sixth also gets good infantry, I think the Luftzumjäger in close quarters will lose to the TKS elite infantry, and the helicopters that are kind of the main thing that the sixth has been known for. Are pretty well countered by the VLRA 20mm, I believe. On the other hand, also, the TKS is reliant on cheap, spammable aircraft, often aircraft that only have 8 health. So having the Books dealing 9 damage at amazing range and excellent accuracy, opening up with 2 Books from Monkey's side here, will likely spell early doom to any kind of an attempt for Icarus to start building up a snowball.
Yeah, the book's really good. The helicopter opener, I think, yeah, it has really potential to go horribly wrong in this one. Hope Monkey is able to microwave it against the 20mm recon. I guess maybe forgetting about them right now. It seems quite scary with the deployment that Monkey is going for. More ground-based deployment would be better in my eyes. I think the longer the game goes, the better Styx will do. They have really strong artillery. TKS has some MOR-10s as well. But yeah, TKS also not having any long-range tanks here. So the T-64s and T-80B that the 6 can get would wipe the floor with them in the long run. But we will see if it goes there, because that opener of Icarus, full of aggression, and might even try to instantly rush Alpha. Yeah, that's what it looks like. And that could change the game quite quickly here.
Yeah, but Protoss, a significant deviation from the meta is happening. Icarus is investing equally up north and the south, whereas Monkey is doing the meta game of investing into the north and in this middle citadel area, which allows you to control reinforcement routes with ATGM weapons. So much points are going to Delta currently with absolutely nothing to kill. It's possible that these VLRAs and these AMXs could just go through and do like an early breakthrough, but meanwhile the helicopters are attacking the TKS special forces in the middle. The Escortni as well as the Mi-2 Urns are both kind of ersatz helicopters, but they do have firepower.
But they VLRA just didn't quite finish off the VLRA. They should have been focus firing that down. Instead, 3 helicopter going down, 4 helicopter going down with the F104s coming in. Books should get both of them. One going down, second one pretty close to them as well. Yes, both going down. But the push in the north worked out, and yeah, as you said, the south is really under-defended, and that helicopter push could have gone better if Monkey would have focused fired the first AAPs down. Then both of his Luftsturmjägers most likely would have gotten out of there, and now it's one Luftsturmjäger against Fallschirmjäger B1, and the Fallschirmjäger B1 are one of the best CQC squads in the game. 7 MP5s and the HK201 plus satchel charges. They are one of the best elite forces there, so the Luftsturmjäger, even though they're special forces as well, will completely get destroyed there. And up north, AMX and beating back the T-64. Conquerors trying to push them back. Can it find the ATGM? Yes, gets an AMX-10 kill, that's important. AMX's 10s are irreplaceable here. You only get 4, and they're the only long-range tank that you get, if you want to call it a tank, the only long-range tank gun at least, and losing them is really painful. So, interesting start here.
Yeah, the T-64 only has 16 armor, which is the same amount of armor as the Leopard 2A3, and that allows the AMX-10s to do a pretty nice damage on it on long range, as long as they don't get shot back themselves. They can take a single hit, I believe, and then as the AMX-10 has taken here. But down here, I think this defensive posture from Icarus, even though it is a +4 right now, this defensive posture down south is not going to scale well. I think these units, especially these AMX-10s, should be put into use immediately, even if they can't be used to capture Alpha up north or any other points here. They should be taking ambush positions to try to take out Monkey's units as long as possible, because as we have seen in the league here, 6 scales pretty well in the late game, as long as they are allowed to bring out their slow tanks, slow infantry, and very efficient artillery on board.
We see the helicopter being brought back. Yeah, the north, Luftsturmjäger in the north at least, got into a nice spot, but they should move further forward, maybe into an ambush position with their RPG. The +4 is really good tick though, and I don't think there is much spots to push forward for Icarus in the south. I think the infantry pushing through the open is an absolute no-go. So I don't know where he should go really. Like, realistically, he could take the edge in the far south with the Green Berets, but obviously you would expect at least 1 infantry unit in there, so not risking that is understandable. He doesn't have the omnivision that we have about the south. He might expect some units there, whilst there are just none, but obviously it's easy to say from our perspective when we see all that, but the players don't have that kind of vision, so digging in on a +4, I think, is a fine spot. +2s, you win too slowly with as an early game rush division, but here he has a 10-minute timer now on his opponent, so if he can keep that up, I think he's totally fine here.
Yeah, so VLRA, 3 VLRA, 3 Milan trucks, a Gazelle Hot, and a Milan 2 infantry squad being brought out, immediately investing heavily into anti-tank weapons. The VLRA Milans are they have lots of missiles. They have 8 of them, and the missiles are good, but they only have mediocre stealth. But taking them in this group could maybe work as kind of a ersatz wolf pack. We saw the Jaguar 2s work in groups, destroying tanks earlier in casts. Maybe this is a similar attempt to try to overpower the command tank or the singular tanks. Though there are 3 heavy main battle tanks already on board, and it's gonna require quite a few hits from even the Hot 2s to destroy this.
Yeah, MiG-21 rocket getting suicided in there by Monkey. I would have liked rather artillery piece, like a Grad here at this point, I think would be a good investment to clear that forest in front of him. But beating back the Fallschirmjägers and the Green Berets here, using the higher range of the Modschützen, as the Green Berets and Fallschirmjägers both have submachine guns, which only have 500-meter range, destroying enemy units in the CQC, but losing out in the longer ranges fights. So that infantry push is working out somewhat. Question is, can the VLRA Milans stop the counter push of Monkey here into the northern zone? So far, not really. The Yearn, interesting little movement there. If that can find the VLRA Milans, that would be a great catch. Oh, T64BB getting hit, not getting side-shotted. Good last second save there. T64BVK still has to get the hell out of there now after capturing before more Milans can be shot at it, or maybe even a plane can be put onto it bombs. Okay, next fighter goes down. The Books already paid off completely. They killed 4 planes here, I believe, by now, so really good job by them. But the rest of the game for Monkey, not going as planned, but it could go worse.
Yeah.
It... T64BVK, yeah, really needs to get out there now. As we have 3 tanks though. If the 3 tanks can be kept alive here for Monkey, together with the leader tank, then I think the situation is okay. But he really needs to keep them around and alive for now, getting more support around them.
The urn in the north was an amazing investment. There's only a single VLRA Milan 2 left here, and even had to spend waste a fighter to protect this. But despite this, we see Icarus has successfully created a concave formation with the VLRA Milan up north, Milan 2 down south, and in the middle we have Hot 2s and AMX-10s still capable of doing some firing. Even more Milan trucks coming up in, and even Milan cars, as well as some Panzermörsers. Interestingly, possibly even to force the enemy to getting close to be destroyed by infantry, maybe. Another urn going out there and trying to break this concave and turn it more into a straight line. And the VLRA 20mm is comes there in time to save this formation for the moment. But even more helicopters are coming, obviously purposefully trying to pretend engagement, a bad engagement in which the enemy can fire at your tanks from multiple directions at the same time.
Ooh, EMX-10RC need to evacuate. They don't. Another one of them going down. That's only 1 remaining now. So tank gun power of Icarus basically down, but the Hot 2 gets a 1-hit kill there. It might have been just the slightest angle for a side shot there onto the Gazelle, from the Gazelle Hot, getting a 1-shot kill against the T80B. That's unfortunate for Monkey, who needs every single tank right now. Ural on the way to repair the other tanks that have been damaged before. Yearn versus RLA in North. Rockets should be finishing that job. The other one being microed back, so at least those stay alive. But the situation's still not great here for Monkey. At least down to a +2 here for Icarus, but still being ticked constantly.
Yeah, maybe the Panzermörsers are here to actually facilitate an infantry counterattack, which would be daring, but possibly, I mean, Icarus's division can afford to have an infantry counterattack. 4 more squads of Jaegers, including a recon squad coming up here, and with this large amount of Panzermörsers, you can very quickly create a large smoke cloud. Which could probably block basically everything until the infantry reach the point. The
F-104 lucky this time around, gets both Yearns killed. Roland, being pretty far out as well, has to run away from the Conquerors. The Conquerors and the Spetsnaz group are not in the further forward building though, being a bit more defensive there. And yeah, we have a Tunguska now around as well to push back the Gazelle Hots. A unit that is really good at that with its 3000 meter range anti-helicopter missiles that one-shot the Gazelle Hots. But now the smoke play is coming out, and it seems like we will see a massive infantry charge here out of Icarus, and I'm not sure Monkey is ready for that, because there's only 1 infantry squad with full hit points there, and a couple more coming up in the rear. The Saparis, if they can make it in time, could completely demolish this push. Question is, will they arrive in time here to get into the forest? Because Icarus push is happening right now. The T-64s and T-Bs will have to be careful with Carl Gustavs around. They are not the best anti-tank rocket launchers, but 16 damage, if they get side shots in, they will harm the tanks a lot.
Yeah, and they do actually have 323 suppression, which is quite a lot. This was this Saparis coming in here just right on time to be able to use these heavy machine guns of the BTRs to do some damage. But the T-64s and T-80s really should be driven back here. They are
the Books especially as well. Now the spotting is happening against the Carl Gustav, especially the AA here needs to be safe. You don't want to be in a situation where we saw of what we saw yesterday, No, or no, the day before, where you just don't have AA against helicopters and be gunned down by that. The Eager Carl
Come on.
Gustav hunting down the Tunguska right now. And yeah, losing the Tunguska here would be a massive, massive defeat. Jaegers for now stunned down. T-64 is there doing a good job. Tunguska not being hit yet. T-64 being hit instead. This push actually might fail here.
Yeah, the Saperis were right on time there, and no critical kills outside of the single side shot from the T-64 have been made here. And the more Urns and Luftsturmjäger are coming down here in the middle, possibly trying to push this this pretty weakly defended Citadel right now, as a lot of points were used to kind of maybe even delay the enemy with this infantry push, if anything. The northern side has once again been taken control over with a recon squad, AA, and some Milan cars. But the Luftsturmjäger Met is taking out one of the Milans, just making it so that the concave is as weak as possible. Mi2 Urns and Luftsturmjägers pushing in the middle here. Even though the Urns are taken out pretty easily here in this moment, really have been the kind of surprise MVPs in a bunch of games. Just a singular Urn for 60 points can have both the recon, both the rockets and the cannons, and with the speed as you get with the helicopter and the versatility, though a good player's hands, those things are like very, very formidable units.
Ooh, but Monkey really wasting the air assets right now. Both helicopters being shut down. The Roland 3 is doing a fantastic job, and the MiG-21 rockets here have to be careful. The double Roland 3, great investment here for Icarus as well. The Books on the other side, obviously, absolute MVPs so far as well, killing off a lot of F-104s already. But Monkey maybe should have invested more into artillery than into those aircraft, as artillery could have stayed alive, and I think a couple of rocket launches here would be the perfect way of dealing with that enemy defensive position right now. Meanwhile, the MiG-21 rockets not really paying off at all.
Yeah, Green Berets coming in to do defense. Green Berets, of course, not the best long-range defense units, considering they have close quarters weapons. But the Green Berets were likely supposed to be reinforcements for the Jaegers if the Jaegers had survived in the fight. Even more infantry, pioneers, and Jaegers coming in all around here. If this becomes a full-on infantry fight, the TKS has pretty good positions to fight it. There needs to be some kind of a quick movement on the board for 6th, unless if they want to turn this game around, because this is still a +2 for Icarus.
Yeah, 7 minutes though is still enough time to get things around, and once you break TKS is kind of gutted. Like, they can't really defend well once they're broken. There's a lot of positions that you can abuse against them. They don't have any IFVs, they don't have any real good tanks, so if the T-64s get through here, they can do a lot of harm. We have 2 more coming in, and the Luftsturmjäger Medis in the center getting into a really good spot. Books in the rear doing a good job as well. The south still completely in the hands of Icarus, so that's a bit that's a bit of an issue for Monkey, not able to do anything about that yet, but has to focus more on really getting the equalizer. Maybe a surprise assault in the south could get the time necessary. Like, there's only 1 Green Beret there. A Yearn and 2 Mi8s could capture that quite quickly, but obviously that would be taking away from the north as well, where the critical mass has to be reached as well. So yeah, it's always hard to get to change the flank. Roland 2 here, nearly going down. Luftsturmjäger Medis in the middle really doing a fantastic job. The Paris up north doing a good job as well, and the T-64 is now arriving here. Interesting fight so far.
Yeah, 2 heavy howitzers coming in pretty close to the front line. Considering how tightly packed Monkey's forces are, how reliant they are on expensive units such as the Books and the tanks, and the fact that there still is a Jägeraufklärer up north in a very good position. This
T-64 is going maybe a bit too deep. Oh, that T-64 leader getting side-shotted here. Really over overdoing it there with the push. Green Berets with the AT-4s doing a fantastic job hitting them, and the leader tank goes down. Yeah, that T-64 BV push not working out, and that smoke play here of Icarus, allowing the infantry to take good fights. Really gnarly. Yeah, Monkey needs to find some flanks there, and not having artillery against that is a mistake here by Monkey. Monkey really could do a lot of with artillery here. The infantry couldn't really reposition against that, but no hyacinths, no rocket artillery, no Euroguns here on the battlefield. So yeah, not using the maybe strongest asset here of 6 next to their fantastic AA is a weird idea of playing that division in my eyes.
Yeah, the Panzermersers, the 3 Panzermersers, the 2 left of them actually, have already fired all of their 80 shots, both of them. So this just to point out that how consistent this
And we get the
smoke cover has been.
M110s here out now as well for Icarus, and they start to snipe the books, and with that, the air spam of TKS gets enabled again. Like, I consider that it's shut down already, but the M110s will allow for that to return, and it's a 4-minute timer here now, because Monkey is not able to get rid of the infantry. And yeah, you can't fight TKS infantry pound for pound with what you get a 6, so artillery is kind of the way through that. And yeah, he decided to go for helicopters in air, and I think that was the wrong decision here so far.
Yeah, even Heimatschützen, the massively valuable 40-point reservist Heimatschützen, they will just be not necessarily meat shields, but considering this row of buildings up north here, as long as you can have units in these, they are going to be a problem. And the Panzermersers are preventing fire superiority
Another
from breaking
T-64 going
this long
down to the
range.
Milan 2. And yeah, the T-64s here trying their best to get some line of sights here around the smoke, but they're obviously always in risk of getting hit by some AT in those cases. And the C-64 BV leader throwing side armor, getting hit here by Panzerfaust's 44s, and they finish them off, and that might be the beginning of the end here. Book goes down to the artillery as well, and I don't see how Monkey is breaking this north now. And yeah, there we go.
Frankly, I was going to say I think this is the end. That was the last desperate attempt to call the bluff of Icarus. That maybe there isn't nothing there. But like back to the golden rule of Warno: take the fights that you want to take. Don't take the fights that your opponent wants you to take. Not having this smoke cover would have allowed the tanks to power creep through 11-man infantry squads easily, but the constant smoke barrage and the constant pushing with the infantry forced this close range engagement, which is one of the rare places where TKS has the advantage.
Yeah, the TKS really using the smoke nicely there, but Monkey not using his artillery well there is a bit of was really a bit of a misplay there. Like the start, obviously forgetting about the VLRA a bit, but that worked out nicely. I think the pushback of Monkey was a good move as well. Getting back in there, the books shooting down a lot of the F-104s, and at that point, it looked like Monkey was in a good position, but then investing into the rocket planes against 3 Roland 3s instead of investing into the artillery that could have smoked the complete position that Icarus had there, like a Eurogun hitting that forest. Could have cleaned it up completely. That was a massive, massive mistake. And then, yeah, maybe playing for the first time against that TKS smoke play, really not able to cope with it at all. Really strong strategy there from Icarus, and a massive mistake by Monkey in the mid game, costing him the game completely.
Yeah, Monkey wasn't, but this wasn't a brainless Monkey see, Monkey do gameplay either. There was a very purposeful attempts of destroying the ATGM concave, realizing that any kind of an infantry, any kind of a tank push on long range would be very inefficient and difficult to control against this kind of spammed ATGM play. But immediately as this ATGM play was counter-pushed by the Luftsturmjägers and the helicopters, Icarus switched up and moved into the infantry spam gameplay.
Yeah, good gameplay there by Icarus for sure. Using the TKS assets really well. After that, first push failed, and then the second push failed as well. The third one or the third hold with the smoke really did it. And yeah, we're gonna see how game number 2 goes. Icarus here with a good clean start of TKS, one of my favorite divisions there. Let's see if he can do it in game number 2 as well, or if Monkey finds a better solution for these problems. Quick break, guys. Then we're gonna be back with game 2. So here we go. Monkey versus Icarus, game number 2. Icarus coming around once more with TKS. Monkey in game 2, switching over to a really strong division as well. 8th US this time around. Let's see if they are ready for the aggressive playstyle of Icarus this time. As Icarus's playstyle here, pretty similar. And it is a tough group where you want to win every map you can, because the other 2 players in this group are quite top level as well. We have Team in Place and so you'll lose Kunta. I'm not quite sure. We will have to.
Suojeluskunta.
Yeah, there we have the finish for you guys to pronounce Finnish names. As yeah, a really high ranked level player as well, top 15 I believe right now. So uh, getting any kind of map wins here is super important. So even though Monkey lost game number 1, map win here still keeps the chances somewhat well alive to getting off into the playoffs. But losing here would be a tough step towards at least not advancing, maybe even relegation next season. So because against Team in Place, you're always the underdog, and yeah, as our Finnish player there, a really strong one as well.
Yeah. So looking at Icarus's opener here, the up north here, the town at Oscar is very easily accessible on the western side. So having these
I
green
think I
berets.
made a mistake there. Fuck. Yeah, I'm unfortunately on double speed.
Oh damn.
Yeah, I'm at 4 minute 40 now. Sorry guys.
I'll just skip it.
Gonna be back in a second. So yeah, we are back. Sorry for that quick thing, guys. I made a bit of a mistake, so we had to catch up. And yeah, it's Icarus's push once more here. Icarus really going deep again. No forward deploy infantry at all from Monkey. It's all mech rifles and engineered dragons here, which are all really strong units with an M1. But that means the forward deploy of Icarus can just roll through. And yeah, one of the issues of the American is that their scouts don't have anti-tank weapons, so you can't really use them for blockading enemy pushes. And oh no! One of the mech rifle laws immediately getting shut down here by the MX-30s.
Yes, immediately these are 70 and 55 point infantry squad respectively, the mech rifle dragons and mech rifle laws, especially in the early game. You want to have all of them doing the fighting, otherwise trying to rebuy them after losing them is a way bigger snowball issue than losing something like a Jaeger squad or well, any other infantry squad in the game really, except for special forces.
MX-10s here with turned off weapons actually being caught off guard by Icarus. One of them being shut down, the other one heavily damaged by the M1A1. It loses line of sight now because there's no scout infantry around, but at least catching one of those really important units there early on. The bombing run doesn't quite finish off the mech rifles, but it takes them out of combat for now at least. And yeah, Monkey holding out for now in the south, but in the north, the Fallschirmjägers and Green Berets got into the town as well. Rangers came in Blackhawks, but have to walk in the long way. Have a Bradley and a Cav around to get the push through. A couple more units here coming in Blackhawks. Engineered Dragons pushing forward as well. As Cobra tries to help out with the push against Oscar. But the South needs to hold here. The M1 leader is an interesting choice. I think it's a good one for sure. But you need to keep it alive.
Yeah, the older generation Abrams is obsolete in most situations compared to other main battle tanks, but TKS doesn't get main battle tanks. TKS gets Patents and AMX-10s and a bunch of ATGMs that would penetrate even a heavier tank. So in this case, I do think it's pretty valued. It has the good gun, it has the 2 medium machine guns, 1 heavy machine gun, a lot of soft attack power, and it's also very fast, 72 kph. It's one of the few advantages of the older generation Abrams. But despite this, the fire supremacy here has seemed to be with Icarus. All of these squads outside of the single engineer dragon being pretty battered. A lot of troops invested up north, maybe just a little bit too many, even having the Cobra, the 2 tanks, the Bradley Commander, 2 Stingers, and then a 3 engineer attack team also. Very rarely do we see people actually contesting the Oscar with such amount of weaponry, and I think this investment needs to go through and try to push into X-Ray or even Zulu's flank. Just having all of these troops wasting on passive defense for the rest of the game will probably be a bad idea, considering down south Icarus seems to have some kind of a advantage going on here. Also, a lack of Eyehawks or fighters so far. So the Starfighter dropping the bombs at the industrial area, taking a free kill here, maybe, almost.
Yeah, that's the good strong game here for Icarus right now. Monkey not having any Eyehawks out yet, so the F-104s can come in with impunity, and yeah, we have seen a lot of them already. That's why the mech rifles here on the side of Monkey are so damaged. Monkey now trying to come in with an F-16 fighter. Flies over the Roland 2, has to be careful there. Yeah, Roland gets 1 missile in, so the F-16 will be out for a good while, and that's pretty painful here, because that means the F-104s can come in longer. And yeah, that's the issue with the F-16. It only has 2 long-range missiles, so the F-104s, you have to hit with both to get the kill there. And I think Eyehawks would be the better investment, but obviously Eyehawks would also be somewhat risky to play because they are not easily repositioned, and Icarus currently still playing a really mobile playstyle. Monkey scouting for the rear and X-ray right now with a Blackhawk, realizing not much is there yet. So hopefully goes for the deep push there, because I think that's the play that you need to go here for as Monkey. Because yeah, if you get into the late game here, I think 8th is in a good spot, but you have to get there first.
Yeah, right now we can see that they're actually considering the investment that that Icarus is making, pushing into the industrial zone and successfully pushing into the industrial zone so far. The all of these troops, they need to be moving. The one of the main ways that you end up winning games, especially in 1v1, is that you can't allow your investments to just go out there and not do anything. Meanwhile, we can see Icarus's investments are all currently in the move. They are moving up and back and front. They're getting micro. They're taking engagements, and these M113 A3 Gavins could be taking these engineers and these scouts and pushing up north with the support of a helicopter, but instead I think the micro. I think the monkey is afraid of a like a revitalized infantry attack up north, which I just think is just not going to happen.
Well, no, Mikey has started moving stuff south. He should have reloaded the units back in though, instead of just moving
Yeah,
the M113s on their own. They are the 50 cal M113s, so they are pretty decent fire support, but the infantry should have come with them. And yeah, push north might have been over eager here because Icarus invested into the defense, but that means a swing south would have been the right move instead now. The Blackhawks saw that reinvestment into the north, so yeah, now the M60s, the Engineered Dragons, the Rangers should have come all to the south here, because I think a win here in the south is absolutely possible with those forces. Without them, though, it will be hard, especially considering the air, and yeah, not getting an Eyehawk here, getting an M110 instead, I think is once more a mistake here by Monkey, not investing into strong enough air defenses to hold off. Yeah, and every kill against the F104 would have paid off the Eyehawk, and instead the F104s get infinite value here right now.
yeah. F104s reload very fast, and uh, we need to remember Warno is not a realistic game. This is why the Starfighter is actually one of the better bombers in the game, and the Starfighter being so fast that it's basically capable of flying over areas. And only having the enemy be able to fire a single shot after it. And in this case, the only thing that can do that is the F-16, and the F-16 can't do one-shot kills. The Eyehawk could, and and more starfighters. They just keep on coming. Like they are getting so much value out of here, and the monkey is risking the game of turning into an attempt to rebuild the forces while the enemy has air superiority. And with eighth and the amount of expensive units that eighth has, you just can't afford to do that.
I don't know why we don't see an Eyehawk. Like, or more F-16s. Like, I think 3-4 F-16s could completely control the sky here as well. There's no long-range fighter that on Icarus' side that could duel them, and they would shut down the F-104s in a medium time span as well. You just can't go with single F-16s because, yeah, they only have those 2 missiles, so they will run out. AMX-10 side-shotting the M60s here. And yeah, Monkey investing into the wrong kind of units here right now. And by now, this overwhelming infantry ground force of Icarus might be too much because the F-104s got the kill on all the infantry. And M1s are the only unit right now on the front line, showing side armor as well here. Mech Rifle coming in to at least help, but the M110 is a good unit, but it came too early. Like, that is a unit that you want to get 3, 4, 5 minutes later, when you have the Eyehawks out to shut down all the F-104s, when you have 3, 4 infantry squads in front of your M1s that then start to kill off everything. M110 right now, misinvestment. Like, time is not the issue here right now of Monkey, trades are.
Yeah, and the trades are gonna get worse and worse because the LGB2, the Aardvark bomber, is out here also for Icarus. And once again, the single F-16 way slower than the starfighters, so it can't actually try to follow them or dogfight them that well. A starfighter getting behind the F-16 and managing to get the 2 of the older generation AIM-9s into the and no air defense. There are Stingers, yes, but there are no dive bombers. All the bomber aircraft from Icarus currently are high altitude bombers, which just makes Stingers ineffective against them.
Yeah, F-111 getting both bombs off here, and This might be already the end. Another F-16 coming in, but they're not doing it. I'm really confused why there is no iHawks. Like, I thought iHawks was one of the reasons why 8 was picked here, because, yeah, they're just like the Books shutting down the Starfighter play so well, but it feels like Monkey hasn't played much against TKS lately. Like, that's how it feels like. And obviously, Icarus, one of the top TKS players, has played it a hell of a lot. Like it was pointed out in the chat by a wooden box, you usually should ban it against Icarus because that's the main go-to division by Icarus at the moment. F111 at least gets shut down by the F16 here right now. F16 over the Stingers might be able to escape the F104. Stinger's not getting on target, so the F16 goes down though, and yeah, we see another M1 going down. This game is over. We only have infantry left here. We have a +4 now for Icarus once more, and we have a lot of Milans in here as well. Like, I can't see a way to come back at this point. The air defense hasn't taxed the F104s at all, so they can potentially just come in to bomb the north into oblivion as well. And the M110, yes, it gets some value, but it won't get enough value in time here.
Yes. For the price of the M110, there could be two iHawks on the board. One of them could be around Oscar, and one of them could be behind the industrial area. What is it called? Lima. Yes. And the all of these troops. There was a moment, considering the complete lack of tanks with TKS, had all of these, or even just the majority of these troops. That retook the town, moved down south, and forced Icarus to basically take defensive positions and try to fight against a flanking attack, and suddenly have to buy units to attack this flanking attack. Very rarely does open ground attacks with infantry really work as like an aggressive or flanking play, because just a single MBT can do so much damage on them on the long range. But there are no MBTs here, and like the tactical advantage of having this massive flank against Icarus was just completely wasted. And I believe, this is my unscientific, personal, subjective opinion, but I think this position from which Monkey is currently attacking Lima is maybe the most difficult angle to attack in the game. There is the tree line on the side, which allows Icarus to send in troops easily and stealthily. There is a million buildings, a bunch of towers, and so many little like angles in which the player from the western side can just reinforce and like look at Monkey's situation. There's just no getting in here. No matter how many troops there are, this is not a position that you can attack without like a massive superiority in units. And if you have a massive superiority in units, you should spread those units around to have some of them in the flank.
Well, yeah, I mean, with the M110s, you can break these positions quite quickly, but currently that one isn't even firing anymore, so the biggest investment of Monkey, which has started to pay off, but obviously cost him in other regards, as he didn't get the air defense or any more infantry with it in the front line. So it should at least fire constantly, and it's not doing that right now. If it would start cleaning out the infantry here right now, the mech rifles potentially could push back. The AMX 10s at least are all cleaned out by now. Still lack of air defense here, so the M1A1 here open for the second LGB potentially. We have two M110s on the side of Icarus now as well. So the artillery game, the amount of cost efficiency on the side of Icarus just really showing. We get a lot of Jaegers with Panzerfaust this time around. We have hell of a lot already in the front line. And yeah, it's like Monkey plays a super standard setup for 8th, but it's just not working out against what TKS is doing here. It really, really feels like Monkey wasn't prepared for this division, and that might just be down to him not playing this division much, because it's a really strong division, but it's not played super much on the ladder, because it's a pretty special division as well. And there's not that many high-level TKS players out there. Icarus, as I said, being one of the best, so yeah, not having to practice against it really shows here. Whilst obviously Icarus will have played a hell of a lot of 8 players on the ladder lately. And same goes for 6, like both of those divisions being played quite commonly lately, and both being pretty standard as well. So It just feels like Icarus has the experience advantage by a big point in this matchup.
Yeah, the like TKS on paper just lacks so much, but in practice it also has so much. Having the Gazelle Hot Twos mix around with the with the very expendable infantry means that having infantry get close to the enemy and like taking risky positions is completely okay with TKS because you have basically infinitely replaceable infantry for pretty cheap and so you can just kind of lack in your infantry micro and concentrate on the helicopter micro. And if you can't do that, you're probably not going to be able to kill tanks. But if you can do that, you can just kind of put people off the balance pretty easily.
Yeah, we see an Ihawk now, but with the MR10s on the other side, it most likely won't survive long. It's pretty hard to keep it alive against those artillery pieces. We see the second LGB now, and the F-16 not capable of stopping that. Yeah, that's really the issue with the F-16s. You need two of them to efficiently kill stuff with the lack of missiles that they have. And yeah, we never saw two of them at the same time. We didn't see enough AA on the ground. And yeah, TKS air train, if you don't have the numbers of firepower to deal with them. And we saw that in game one, where the double book came out. So there it worked out quite well for Monkey. I don't think the airplay was a problem there at all. But this time around, the air just completely dominated for Icarus. And that's why you always fish with those F-104s. Like, that's why we saw them so much in the first game as well, even though they didn't work out there. Uh, Once you see an opening and the enemy doesn't have enough air defenses anymore, TKS can just go so hard and so ham on that. And the F-104s are kind of expendable as well. Like, you obviously don't want to lose them, but they are not the biggest investment either. And yeah, GGVP once more here. Icarus really showing hot TKS playstyle.
Yeah, and just to finish up the Starfighter discourse here, sending out a F-104G fighter to be sacrificed to reveal the enemy's Ihawk locations, and then targeting those locations with the M110s that you get. And all the other artillery that you get as TKS can also keep your air train alive if as long as you can kind of concentrate and think about it and keep microing and not allow your opponent to necessarily reposition aircraft. All of this requires game sense, it requires experience, but if you can do that with TKS, you can be not unstoppable, but very difficult to stop.
And yeah, MX-10s here getting good kills. Milan 2 coming in hot as well. And yeah, this is... The bomber kill list is just really, really long. And yeah, Monkey playing a super normal setup for 8th, but that doesn't work against a TKS. Against TKS, you always have to play against their strength and against their weaknesses, and that is something that Monkey wasn't able to adapt to here. As I said, it's something that I realized when I played TKS myself. A lot of people are just not familiar with it, and even Monkey here not quite on top of this, leading to kind of a disaster run in game number 2, and leading to a strong victory here for Icarus in the first match of this tournament or in Group A. And yeah, looking forward to see how Icarus will face Team Place. Team most likely gonna know about this weakness, and now the other players gonna know all. So TKS most likely gonna be banned for Icarus there, unless the Team feels really comfortable against it. So that's gonna be interesting to see what Icarus is going to switch to then. And yeah, really tough position now for Monkey in this group.
Yeah. Personally, I'm looking forward to be able to cast some Suojeluskunta games. Suojeluskunta, of course, is a basically like a Berlin Command main, and very interested in the only games I think I've ever seen of them are of against He-Man and a Wooden Box on stream, and those games are then like always Berlin Command. So I don't know. Maybe he has like a secret roster of a bunch of other decks like just behind the stage, behind some curtains, Suojeluskunta's alts have been ruining people, and nobody knows about this. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, and we gonna go into group scene right now, into the next matchup being Forward versus Pure Tanner. We already saw Pro Comi and Mix 90 in that group. Gonna be interesting to see how Forward and Tanner are currently in shape, see how that whole battle runs out, and then we're gonna be visiting Group B later with a wooden box versus Stahlbrecher as well. So yeah, short break, guys. So don't run away. We will have a lot more top level play to come. So here we return, guys. Tanner versus Forward in a group with two really high level calibers. These two might be the underdogs. So a win here would be pretty important for both. And we have an interesting two legs matchup with two OG divisions as well. As Tanner on the left side, bringing in 5th Panzer. Forward on the right side, 39th. But before we go in there, quick shout out to Matcherino, where we crowdfund the tournament's prize pool through. And we already are at nearly 70 bucks. And you can make that 70 bucks with one click. No money invested by you at all. All you have to do is click the claim code button up here. Adds 25 cents to the prize pool completely for free. So check out the Matcherino page, guys, if you want to support the tournament and give the players a bit more motivations for their games. Thanks to William and Jagdpanzer coming in lately with 20 and 10 bucks directly as a direct contribution as well. And yeah, getting us closer and closer to the first 100 bucks here. And yeah, let's get back into the action here. What do you think about Tanner's setup here so far?
So we are seeing. So this all of this was deployed in like 1 minute, which is tells me that Tanner has a very well planned out, thought out opener for this this matchup, or at least this map here. we're seeing some very interesting unit choices, such as a massive amount of MG3 machine gun teams at 15 points, three-man squads with an excellent range of 1,200 meters. And one of the big weaknesses of West Germans is that they don't have 50 caliber machine guns. And I think this is actually kind of a way to compensate that, maybe by having these 1,200-meter machine gun teams masked out. You can engage enemy on the long range, and thus basically kind of allow you to a lot of safety that West Germans generally would try to gain by getting into close infantry fights with large squads. But this way, obviously, significantly cheaper. We're also seeing a lot of recon, including Fuchs Rasit, the radar recon with exceptional optics, and we are seeing a UH-1 Huey transporting a Aufklärer squad uh, immediately going to the flank. So very interested to see what Tanner is cooking here. We're seeing a interesting and good unit, Leopard 1 A5 with veteran, and we are seeing a garbage unit at the brick tractor, the shitbox, the Panzergrenadier Carl Gustav being transported in the 20-point transport, which is just worthless. But if this really is a medium machine gun a kind of a build here, if we're really seeing the maximum amount of MG3s, maybe the brick tractors are trying to kind of lean into this. Also, an opener Leopard 2A4. Fortunately, at Vet 1 this time, we have seen them these excellent tanks being kind of mismanaged by certain other players. And from the Forward 34 side, what do you think about this Protoss? There's also a massive amount of recon, but it seems to be a bit more standard.
It seems to be a pretty standard push towards Zulu here. Yeah, low forces in the south with only 2 recon units there. The Mi-8 MTPI, the one with the high ECM and the jamming capabilities, thanks to that lovely rucksack that it has in the rear there with the jammers placed onto its back. And then in the north, that's where most of the forces will go. And that's why Tanner also deployed so defensively around Lima with all those MGs. Because that's how the map usually plays. We have some BMP2s, some T-80Bs here. 39th being just the stock standard jack of all trades Soviet division here. Master of none kind of thing. With Rajvetgas coming around, we will see some Gruts most likely. A pretty cost-efficient deck. And we see the RPG-22 Motostrelkis that get a discount for having the RPG-22. 35-point infantry is really cheap. It's only a 7-man squad, yes, but 35 points, and then a cheap BMP2 on top of that is really... How that one plays out here is around Zulu, as Tanner seems to be fully on defensive until, and we will have to see what Tanner brings out in the long run to get aggressive at some point.
Yeah, I mean, the standard way that Fifth Panzer would do this would be to have a blob. So maybe all of this is just like the first phase of the blob building operation, whereas the second phase of the blob building operation uh, will likely start around, like, let's say 3 MBTs and a couple of Gepards and Rolands. Who knows? The 39th, being a jack of all trades division, can actually kind of specialize. I've seen attempts of doing like recon rush 39th. I'm seeing air 39th with the ECM jammer chopper. They can forward target for a bunch of aircraft, and the Su-27 is coming out here to do some combat air patrol, despite West Germans not having any aircraft up here, taking out the Alouette, but maybe getting right into the Roland. This is a
Oh, it's turning
massive
the
hit.
wrong way.
If this Su-27 gets killed here,
Oh.
which it likely won't, because the Roland 3 missed the second shot and has a long reload time. But despite everything, just having the Su-27 spent such a long time in repair is just a hit to the early game of Forward 34. But as we're seeing, Tanner may not be here to exploit this outside of this heli sneak on the back. Heli sneak number 2 is coming from the ECM chopper from Forward 34. going to be interested in seeing this. It's basically trying to get into the spawn of
And this might be down
Tanner,
to
and
forward.
considering there is no recon, no artillery or attack planes, as far as we can see, could be that this is actually just a way to try to gather information for Forward 34's part.
Yeah, I think this is a reaction to Tanner's gameplay and forward having maybe watched a couple of Tanner's games lately, because
The Leopard 2 engaging a
Tanner
recon
has
car
used a lot
and
of.
most likely kind of confirm.
I think it's my Discord dying here right now. With
Zumo.
yeah, okay, yeah. I think this is forward reacting to Tanner's gameplay lately with the Mi 8, because Tanner has played a lot with FSPs lately, with forward supply points, and scouting for that is what forward does here right now, confirming that none of them is on the battlefield. If you find it, you instantly can kill it with artillery. So really clever play by forward, but Tanner this time around not using the forward supply points, so the Mi 8 will only see more units, but not find any valuable targets here in the rear.
Yeah, the Huey actually most likely going to run out of fuel before it can be sold, considering it flew on the other side of the map from this long way. But Tanner has snuck in a recon squad in very close to Forward 34's flank spawn point. So the best infantry units that you have on 39th are also pretty mediocre. There is no massive standouts, no special forces, but you get a lot of them, and you get a lot of them with BTRs, which with their heavy machine guns do provide excellent fire superiority. Now we're going to see the MG3 is actually engaging this attacking force from multiple positions, supported by the Leopard 1A5 and a Par 1, a Hot 1 missile helicopter actually coming, the older generation Hot 1 missiles, taking out the BTRs here.
BTR 60 under fire there. Yeah, both going down. We have the BMP2 still active though. The machine guns being pushed back. They would like to have some Jägers in front of them, or Sicherungs in the case of what is Tanner is bringing in right now, as the MG3s on their own only have 3 hit points, so they get taken out quite quickly. They have decent DPS, but they need something in front of them. And once we see the first Felter beats 155mm artillery coming in for Tanner to try to deal with the infantry push, but the MGs need some meat shield in front of them, so the Sicherungs can't come to the front line fast enough here to help out with that push. Whilst we see the second T-80 here, this time a BV coming around for forward.
Yeah, the two tanks, the T-80 B and BV, have autoloaders, so which means that even though they are zero vet units, their ability to work as fire support against soft targets will basically not be impeded by taking damage. Even though their ability to fight against other tanks will significantly be impeded because they will lose both mobility and accuracy.
Yeah, Storm is an interesting unit that we don't see super often either. The Cocon has a really long range. It's not as fast as the Bastion though, but it's relatively affordable for such a long range weapon system. The penetration power, not the greatest either, but against Leo 1s it's for sure really dangerous. And Leo 2s, obviously side shots can be quite dangerous there as well. So yeah, E80BV and B pushing in here as well. The Sicherungs under fire. The 155mm of Tanner still keeping on in the rear. F4F trying to come in against the Motostrelki. SU-24 coming in with a bombing run, getting shut down by the Roland 3s. Roland 3 setup really good for Tanner, and yeah, the planes of forward need to be careful here.
Yeah, the Su-24 has a massive amount of destructive potential, but it's just the high altitude bombers are pretty easy to dodge. And considering the amount, the units here being like machine gun teams, Sicherungs, and Milan ones, all of these are still quite expendable. The expensive units that need to be taken out from Tanner's force are the Leopard 2A force and the Leopard 1A5s, even though they which are 120 points. And the Leopard 1A5s being vetted up, having excellent accuracy, means that every something that is not the T80 can be easily taken care of by the older generation modernized German tanks. And the getting and these T80 BVs, if you look at the situation, they are currently fighting in a long flank. This means that it's even more difficult than in general to make sure that the enemy doesn't get side shots. There are tanks on the one side, infantry ATGMs on the other, and helicopter ATGMs on the third side. So this is a very risky position where any small little mistake can actually have Forward 34 losing these key
Yeah, and we
units.
already saw the first one going down to a Leo 185 flank. The Leo 185 barely getting out alive. I like the SPG-9's fire support on forward side, both sides bringing in some nice support units. We see the Milan 2s and the massive amount of MG3s. On the other side, we had the SPG-9, which also helped out stunning down the Leo 2A4 at least, but the TADB still got side-shotted by the Leo 1 and then killed off with the second shot, and the Leo 185 barely made it out alive, but it made it out alive, and that's a problem here for forward right now, as he is getting outnumbered now 3-1 in tanks, 4-1 actually, and the Leo 185's still all alive, and they have decent guns. They just can't tank, but they can deal the damage if they get on top of you.
Yeah, and with the extra veterancy, they actually recover their stress pretty fast.
And yeah, Roland's getting killed onto another Su-24s. Not liking the airplay here at all out of forward here right now. And maybe a bit too focused on getting into the zone right now. Should be maybe focusing a bit more on the trades, as I don't see any time soon a breakthrough happening here for forward right now. But obviously, if you can start to whittle down the forces of the enemies, that can get it for you in the long run. But currently, the trades, after a decent start for forward, I think going better and better right now for Tanner.
Yeah, I'd say that this is a very bad position to get trades. There's very little mobility for forward. Really, the only way forward is through. You can't really move to any other position except to try to take these fortifiable positions at the industrial zone. Otherwise, any kind of a prolonged engagement is just going to have Piri Tanner slowly kind of encircle all of these troops here. So this position tactically is very, very bad for Forward 34, and very smart actually from Tanner that the most expensive units, such as the Leopard 2 that was sent down to Oscar, were immediately moved to counter this tank fight. And one of the reasons why Tanner has this excellent position is because the units down south were not allowed to stay idle.
Yeah, we also have the Aufklärer in the rear now in a really good spot for Tanner, seeing all reinforcements coming in, so he always knows what is coming in and arriving in 1 or 2 minutes time on the front line for forward, so he always knows what kind of the power balance is there. He will not get surprised by any bigger investment, and that's such a big advantage here for Tanner. Also, the UH made it back to the rear here for Tanner, but just barely went out of fuel before it could be sold. It's getting refueled right now, and then it should be able to be sold and get home. Yeah, a bit of a issue there with the UH-1D. The fuel consumption of it is way too high. Something that Eugen needs to check in the future to help out that little helicopter. Meanwhile,
Well, I mean,
TADBs,
it is an armed helicopter, so it's very cheap, so it needs to be balanced some way, I believe.
yeah, but
I
all
think
other helicopters use fuel a lot slower than it does. TADBs here and BMP2s pushing forward. Leo 2A4 engaging it right now. So they have to be careful not to get side shot, especially as the BO-105s with their Hot 1 missiles here lurking forward. Nice shot with the Eagler, getting one of them out of the sky. Leo 2A4 pushing through the building front here. Might run into a Motostrelki though with that. So it's a bit of a risky play here for both sides. Either individual Leo 2A4 being caught by 2 TADBs and the BMP2, or a good flanking shot. It could go either way here. So risky play for both sides here. Currently a couple more kills for forward again. Killing off the BO, killing off a couple of MG3s. But still an okay situation for Tanner for sure, as he keeps all the tanks alive for now.
Yeah, so Tanner has actually put 2 fast-moving leaders and a bunch of infantry squads around Oscar. And we need to remember there is a direct road from Oscar to Zulu, to the Red Town, and there is currently nothing out there. I think with the recon information and the amount, I think and the forces are moving right now. They're going out there. They're going to encircle Forward's battle group even faster by trying to take the town from behind them, and the brick tractors and the wounded though heavily wetted up tanks are taking positions to kind of protect this. I think the lack of supply and the amount of repairs that need to be done is a problem for Tanner here, but Tanner can't allow the momentum to be lost, can't allow to play safely necessarily. Taking these positions around the Zulu is an excellent idea, because this allows the troops to kind of
And it's
dig
not
in.
being spotted here. The UATS is in a bit
Yes.
of a wrong spot. By forward, it should move a bit further forward in that tree line to actually see the road. And the Motrajretka in the wrong spot as well. Conquers on the wrong side of the forest in the north, but the helicopters now sees it. The only issue in my eyes for Tanner is that yes, the Leo 1s are damaged, and then more importantly, he doesn't have any recon himself with this push. He should have brought the Fuchs Razid with this, because he is pretty blind as well. He knows what kind of units should be in the area, thanks to his Aufklär in the rear, but he doesn't actually see any units here right now, because he only has normal infantry, no recon with himself, and the TADBV here misses the Leo 1A5s. Lucky for Tanner right there, as the Leos just go absolutely ham into the rear line here right now.
Yeah, knowing the having the recon against the reinforcements also allows Tanner to confidently kind of push with the tanks against these infantry. There is a helicopter there right now, which most likely needs to be taken out by some kind of a fighter. Fortunately, 5th Panzer does get a lot of cheap, expendable fighters that can kill helicopters easily. But and we're seeing forward to actually having to pull back a bunch of tanks and BMPs to defend the line. The flank attack here from Peary Tanner is like just looking excellent, and a Mars, a heavy, super heavy rocket launcher, cluster rocket launcher coming, being bought from the west. Not aiming currently, possibly forgotten for the second, but
I feel
the
like
the
this
the
is
small.
a Rommel moment though. Like, the lack of recon here really leads to, it feels like the dash to the wire kind of Rommel movement here is costing Tanner hardcore, as he didn't see the TADBs rotating around against him, and now being caught out by that flank. He lost all the Leo 1A5s, his AA got caught out by the TADBV from the rear, and the helicopter got him pretty badly as well, as the SU-27 kept the sky and clean. Really good play there by forward, pulling that out to protect the Mi-24P. Really good reaction with that plane. And now it's only one Leo 2A3 here. Gets at least one BMP2 kill. The TADBs will have to be a bit careful as well, as they're damaged too, but the Leo 2A3 most likely gonna go down here. Would need to smoke off right now, and I think this was a mistake in the end by Tanner. Good play by forward, and the lack of recon really, really costing him dearly here. At
But
least
don't
gets the
worry.
SU-27.
Yeah, after Tanner writes his memoirs, everybody will think he's a genius, okay?
Yeah, Leo 2A3 here. Getting a kill damage against the BMP2s. Alouette moving forward. The Roland 3 still in an interesting position as another SU-27 comes around, which might be caught out by that super forward Roland 3 eventually as well. But yeah, only 2 Leo 3s now remaining. That tank push with damaged tanks and without recon, a mad dash, and with a lot of chances for dealing damage, but great and good reaction by forward, really showing why he is a Division 1 player there. And yeah, costing Tanner quite dearly here. F4F at least gets another SU-27 kill, that's important. But the AA on the ground of forward also getting some damage done against the F4Fs, getting one of them killed off. And forward still with a point lead here in this game.
Yeah, the pulling back the tanks from forward managed to combat the kind of flank push with the wounded armored group, but the tanks the tank engagements happening here in the western side with the two Leopard 2s. As well as this one Leopard 2 A4 in a potential flanking position, even though it's significantly wounded, hasn't actually bettered forward's tank fight positioning here that much better. One T-80B getting taken down, and the last T-80B here in a bad situation. One of them was taken out by a
Oh, it
rocket
gets a
plane
stun
already.
though. It should have taken another shot there. Well, there was the second Leo 2A3, so it might have wanted to risk it there, but the Leo 2A4 really low as well, needs to get the hell out of there to get repaired. You don't want to lose more tanks here because you didn't repair them. Tanner already lost too many tanks with that push, but his Aufklärer in the rear actually getting into a great spot, killing off Storm
A bunch of Osas.
and an Osa, and has the MTLB now to reload all the Panzerfaust in it. It has 6 shots with the Panzerfaust 44 again, and that actually might be what breaks forward here now.
Yeah, the lack of AA is massive considering the easily like repairable and cheap rocket planes that with their heavy Zuni rockets can actually significantly damage these main battle tanks.
BMP-1 lost as well. It's 5 vehicles, 6 vehicles now lost to the Aufklärer. More Redgas being brought in. This Aufklärer, 7th vehicle. UWATs with Conquerors most likely gonna go down as well. 8 vehicles here. The Aufklärer completely ruining the game here for Forward, as they have this Aufklärer has been the MVP before. Forward finally realizing the situation, but this Aufklärer, it's a 40-point unit taking out around 500, 600 points here, and especially important AA assets that could have helped against the airplanes in the front. And now Tanner should have enough to push through the couple of remaining forward units of forward here on the front line. So a mad play there with the Aufklärer.
Yeah, the one positive, you often talk smack on the Panzerfaust 44 because it's not that great, but I actually kind of like it. It has good accuracy, good range, and 6 shots. So which means that when you just have one of these things, well, maybe holding a flank somewhere or maybe in the back line, the slowly fired accurate 6 shots can do actually way more damage than the quickly fired disposable launchers, which always have 4 shots.
Yeah, and Forward now really in a tough spot on the front line, only having 1 T-80B remaining there. Not much supply left for it, as the supply trucks got intercepted as well. Whilst he's getting hit by Mars launchers, and there is the Leo 1A1 flank now coming in, but the Leo 2A3s did bait the T-80B forward, and once the Leo 1A1s are in position, I think the trap will snap, and the T-80Bs and BMP2s might be caught in a forward position here as well. It really feels like the visualization of the Desert War all over. Like mad dashes around the flanks, overextensions on both sides here. The HE Tornado coming in to get the kill. Air superiority once more on Tanner's side, getting the kill here. And the Leo 2A3s coming in to finishing off the fight here. Forward really in a tough spot now. With the
yes, including the special air service units in the back line, but at this time, instead of destroying airfields, destroying air defense.
Yep, we saw Mi-8 and the Mi-24 coming around, finally killing off the supply. Ooh, we see the Jägerführer trying to go deep here in a Unimog. The UWAT's KPV trying to deal with it with its heavy machine gun. Nearly killed the Unimog, but Jägerführer got out alive for now. 4 hit point unit. The Mi-8 should be able to deal with it though, stopping it from capturing the rear. But the big question is, can Forward stop and get enough reinforcements into the north before Tanner get through there and can get the tick back online? As we have to remember, Forward has a 400-point lead here, which is a decent lead, not a big one, but that's, I think, the only hope that Forward has in this game right now, getting that somewhat through the last remaining 18 minutes in this game.
Yeah, I do think that the brute force of the Leopard 1s, as well as the tank killing capacity of the Leopard 2s, means that any kind of an engagement against this force of Tanner needs to be taken by like a pretty equal amount of maybe at least 2 like you would want to have 3-4 tanks for yourself, and there are none on board currently. And
I think
the
the unit to do it would be an SU-25, but with the loss of both SU-27s and the OSAs, protecting that SU-25 against the F4Fs is kind of impossible. Like, if at least one of the SU-27s would have survived, I feel like a SU-25 play here could be massive, but I'm not sure you would get them close right now. And that's really the issue here. The loss of both OSAs there really, really paining forward right now. We see a lot of Motostrelkis coming in, and Leos can't just drive into the town when infantry is inside there, and the infantry for 39th is better for the most part than 5th, but he has to get the infantry there first.
Yeah, though with the receipt, they can spot the enemy infantry way easier than armored battle groups generally can. Having this exceptional optics thing move very fast and in tandem with all of these tanks.
Yeah, but Tanner hasn't done that in the past. And like, he didn't do it with his Mad Dash, so maybe he forgot about the Razits. The Razits here seem to be more of a flanking protection thing. So the recon play, in my eyes, not the greatest of Tanner in this game. The airplay and the fights taken in the north of the tanks so far what got him through the game. And then obviously the off-flare in the rear, which was a great ambush. But the recon in the front line not being as good for Tanner as it has been for forward in my eyes. So by now, all the motive Retratka just getting taken out in that moment there, ruining the recon for forward completely at this point.
Yeah, now the air superiority being just completely flaunted by the fifth here. The one of the only positive things that forward had, kind of tactically, is the fact that this town allows the red town here allows him to bring out reinforcements pretty safely, and even the close range fast deployed OSA AA could have been there and could have actively been able to engage a bunch of these planes and deny the complete air superiority, but very simply just because the Aufklärer took all of them out, this allowed so many sorties to go by and just make these engagements very easy for Tanner.
Yeah. And yeah, without OSAS here now, we see a coup finally coming in, but the airplay really ruined forward in the last couple of minutes here. The planes coming in time and again, shooting down helicopters, shooting down a lot of the ground units. I think we even saw some F4Fs just strafing there because, yeah, there were no other targets left for the AA planes, so they might as well just use their guns onto some infantry units, heavily stressing them out and dealing some damage at the same time. And now we have that big tank blob in the north for Tanner. Artillery is currently empty, but yeah, with a couple more artillery shots into the town and then a big push together with the Leos, I feel like forward is just seconds or maximum minutes away from breaking here.
Yeah, 2 tanks are coming out there, and 2 Sturms are holding the north and south sides of the town. So forward is absolutely not defenseless. But the Sturm can only engage 1 tank at a time, and it's still an MTLB. It's a combat frog. It's got mediocre stealth, which is pretty all right, but it has no armor and it has no ability to retreat. So as long as it's gonna get spotted, it's gonna get fired at, and that it's gonna be able to take like 1 tank down at a max, unless there are other tanks actually, well, tanking the hits. And those tanks are coming in right here, right on time as the West German, the armored battle group is moving in, and infantry is getting deployed to do close range spotting for all of these guns aimed at the town.
Yeah, Gwazdika trying to help out, sniping the enemy recon, trying to snipe the Fox Razit, but Tanner moved it ever so slightly time and again. So Gwazdika can't find the kill, especially without extra spotting capabilities for forward right now. The Storm finally engaging in the south. We see the Leo 1s and Leo 2A3s pushing now in the north. There's a BMP2 and 2 T80Bs now. If they can focus down the group in the north, I think they would be able to overwhelm the Leo 1s there. But now we see the F4F rockets coming in as well. Coop trying to engage, not getting the kill there. And the good thing about the F4F rocket is that it is really, really cheap. It's not a great plane, but it is a really, really cheap plane considering it has 30 ECM. Like, the damage output is not the greatest, but it has a gun, it has 30 ECM, and it has 10 hit points, and it's actually going for the coup right now. Not a great targeting positioning moment there, or maybe forward actually moved it slightly, but still the coup not able to shoot anything down, and that's a problem here right now.
Yeah, I would argue that the F4F is actually a good plane. It's just got bad loadouts. It's got 30 ECM. It's fast. It's got very good agility. 10 max damage, and it's got the Vulcan cannon with a buttload of ammo, like 640 like rounds of 20 millimeter. You can, if you can get behind an enemy fighter or enemy plane, you can just reliably kill them unless they're super fast. Like something like MiG-31 would be. And having the mediocre loadouts, having only the heat-seeking missiles or only the Zuni rockets is kind of the trade-off. But you
And we
still
have
get
a
a
really big
very good
problem
plane.
here right now for forward in the north. The TADBV being with tracks broken, like he smoked off just in time, but the tank got a crit before the smoke popped, and with that, both TADBs down, and yeah, he's getting overwhelmed here now. Like, that position is just getting completely overrun on the ground. TADBs and BVs down, and I don't see a point in holding off any of the infantry now. The tanks are just overwhelming, and I think we are just moments away here from forward GGing out of this game, as there's nothing that can stop this power waltz of the 5th Panzer now.
Yeah, it was forward put up a really good fight. The engagements that were taken in getting to Lima were taken very well. The position that forward's troops were pushed to was a really bad one, and the fact that there never was like a clear like closing of the loop. You know, there was never the moment when Tanner just managed to push this and just take everything out. And even when the battle was finally won by Tanner on the Lima side, uh, frankly, a big part of that was probably the fact that that Tanner had complete air superiority, and but even despite this, I think Tanner's attack on the Zulu town that failed did actually play a part also here. So Tanner, we see a lot of players here see like have opportunities to do flanking attacks or do some wacky stuff, but they don't do that. They want to play the fundamentals. They want to go head to head. They want to micro better. They want to control better. They want to use their smokes. They want to micro their artillery, etc., etc. And I really like seeing Tanner mix up the pot with these mad dashes and these taking these risks and being unexpected, because this kind of mobile warfare like put forwards like very solid battle group into a very bad position that they just couldn't escape from.
Yeah, and then the real MVP, obviously the outplayer in the rear, that just shut down the AA, that shut down the resupply that the T80s that were damaged in the front really needed, and then the Leo 2 A3s and 1A1s catching out the BMP2s and TADBVs when they pushed a bit too far forward, and after that it was just a complete snowball here. Yeah, I think the fights on the ground that forward took actually were all pretty balanced, yes, and really showing why forward is in Division 1, why they won Division 2 last season, in season 0.5, 0.5, yeah. But this game here by Tanner just really showing why he is in Division 1 as well, with the really masterpiece of strategic movement here. Time and again, and yeah, the push in the flank didn't work out. I think it could have been executed a bit better. He had the forces to make it even stronger when he did the flank, but it also didn't cost him dearly because he at least got a couple of decent engagements out of there as well, and killed the Su-27 especially, which allowed the air spam to fully win the fight here in the end.
Yeah, which was a bit of good luck at the opener. I think we can all, probably Tanner also could admit this easily, that the Roland getting a hit in and forward actually flying in and to take out this very cheap Alouette recon plane, that was just a bad decision.
Well, that wasn't the kill though. The kill was when he with the mad dash, when the roll on 3 pushed forward as well and got the SU-27 with that push, and then another
Oh yeah.
one chased down with the F4Fs, which was good play on Tanner's side, using the high speed of the F4F and the situation that there was no AA on the front line, no coops for forward, no none of the OSAs, because yeah, they're all burning Rex here in the rear, or burned out Rex at this stage, and it's really admirable here from forward to try to get this game still under control. But and he actually got a lot of forces here in again, like a decent amount of force with BMP1s and BMP2s and the TADB, trying to play a nice play with smoke. And like this really shows how good of a player forward is as well, with the standard controls here, setting this push up and not even completely faltering under the circumstances. But there is just, once Tanner pulls the trigger here, I think there's just too much even for this force.
Yeah, the smoke cover here to protect the flank of this T80 and BMP2 squadron that is moving to do fire support for these Motostrelki that are getting the town here. This is good, but the smoke doesn't cover from the helicopters that are moving in. Once again, creating a concave. The concave really is the greatest weapon. Like going back to the Battle of Cannae, the concave really is the one eternal constant in human warfare, both simulated and real. And you just want to have them. They're just good. You tend to win when you have a concave against your enemy.
Yeah, it's the RTS standard. Concave beats convex, and it's repeated by my favorite caster duo, Tastehosts, time and again in GSL, and it's true in Warno even more so, because your units have flanking armor as well, and side armor, which is even more vulnerable, and means that you don't just have the numerical advantage, but you also have the higher damage DPS thanks to hitting enemy side armor, but they hit your front armor from out of the convex every time. So yeah, forward getting into the zone actually. Tanner maybe slacking a bit on the artillery play. The 155mm artillery pieces not firing as much as they could have lately. I think they could have done a bit more damage there. But the Leos here still numerically in an advantage, and Tanner has gotten the point lead now, and that's the big thing here. Forward would still have like a 400-point lead here. There might still be a way in there, but without that, I don't see it. And we even have a UH-1D with a Jägerführer on the flank, and I don't think they came standard in that. I think he actually switched the transport for that Jägerführer to get them into that, to jump into the rear line here now. So another cool Tanner move here for sure, showing why he is such a crowd favorite as well in all the tournaments that he has played in so far.
Yes, when you're ahead, get further ahead.
ETR 60 PBK getting shut down now here in the zone as well. Tanner back to a +2. Coming up with the rear zone drop here in a second. The BTR 60 PV actually sees it, but I don't think it can intercept in time. No, it can't. And there we see it. Jägerführer getting in there, grabbing the +2 zone, and GG is called. And what a game! What a game won here.
Damn, yeah, just a game one. In the end, the KDR was significantly in Tanner's in Tanner's favor, but it does look like I do believe that for a large part of that game the kills were pretty equal. Though I'd say that the position in which forward put their troops, meant that repairing these T80Bs and T80BVs was just way more difficult than repairing and resupplying was for Tanner, considering Tanner had so much map control out there. And just look at this one Leopard 2. Just look at how much it got killed. This is not even counting all the damage it did to the T80s. And like how many times did the Vogel Leopard get repaired? I don't know, but probably a bunch of times.
But yeah, the MVP here being Eberhard with his squad of outclaverers. This list is just disgustingly long. Like 4 Osas actually taken out there by the outclaver. Yeah, all the Osas being killed by that guy. And then the Conquerors One, two, three, four, five infantry squads and a storm. Like that is just devastating damage here by one unit alone. That's 1,000 points I think killed by a 40-point unit. And GVP there by Tenor. I mean, yeah, getting the Outflowers in the rear of the opener, good play. Wouldn't expect that much damage out of it, though. Even if it would have only gotten half this damage, it would still have been devastating. But yeah, with this amount of damage, it was just game-ending damage basically by this Outflower unit alone.
Yeah, just getting the two OSAs could have been game ending, considering the how taking out AA weapons can help the air snowball keep going.
Yeah, and it was 4 OSAs in the end here. Like
Yeah,
that's one hell of a damage done there. And but that makes me optimistic for game number 2 for Forward, because yeah, they played really well as well, and without that damage taken, I feel like they might have even a slight edge in the micro here against Tanner. So I'm really interested to see how game number 2 goes. We will go into a short break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with these two fighting it out there.
yes.
Here we go, everybody. Game number 2 is another really hot matchup here between Tanner and Forward, as we have uh, NATO versus NATO battle between two horse divisions, nonetheless. As Tanner bringing in 5th Plane Day and Forward bringing in the other horses with the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment. So, what horse do you think has the better chances on this map here?
I would just dare to say immediately that Blinde, the French, because the French have shown that they have even despite the lack of good main battle tanks, they have so many good AT weapons with the Mephistos, with the Milan twos, with the Milan ones, one Vabs. They are capable of fast and pretty efficiently, cheaply deploying a lot of AT weapons. They also have, I believe, dive bombers, cluster dive bombers, which are very decent at taking out high value units such as M1 Abrams. And they just all around a pretty aside from the lack of their tank tab, the French blinde is just a pretty good and efficient division. A lot of good infantry, a lot of cheap infantry such as reservists to kind of keep the enemy on hold, and a lot of ways to, especially with the Alf One, the excellent autoloader artillery, to win these kind of long slug fights. And 11th Cav really is weak on that risk department. 11th Cav is not a division, it's a supersized regiment, which means that it lacks on a lot of fundamentals, even though it has a bunch of amazing units. Looking at the Bradley CFWs, Kiowa Warriors, you have TOW2 armed Sea Knight helicopters. You have a bunch of A10s, fighters, F-16s. All of these are good units, but you really lack on the veterancy and the availability of infantry. And it doesn't matter how many M1 Abrams super fucking amazing mega great battle tanks you have, if you're not going to be able to efficiently use them to break through lines. And when they're going up against 70-point Mephistos and Hot 2 helicopters, those Abrams are going to need a lot of support. So, but ACAV, especially when played by Forward 34, is a very potent division, and if they're actually if the aggressive nature of the cavalry regiment can be like used properly here, I think this the early game any kind of recovery from Tanner could actually be pretty difficult.
And one thing that 11th also brings is a lot of air. And the AA defenses of the French are okay thanks to the Mistral manpads, but the Rolands are not the most reliable thing to shoot down the amount of F-16 LGBs and ATs that can come around there. So that's a scary part to think about as well. And the infantry department actually not as weak as you would expect currently in 11th, especially thanks to engineer dragons, because you get, I think, at least two, maybe even three cars of these boys. I think you got two cars of them more than any other division, and they are currently just insanely strong thanks to the heavy suppression on the dragon missile for 40-point units, 10 hit points, shock trade as well. So they can do a lot of damage. And yeah, we see Kiowa Warrior in the north pushing back the Eclairs already, getting a VAB Razid killed off as well. Once more with the Razids here for Tanner. Interesting usage. Whilst we see a Mirage 200 coming in, do we see fighters on the other side to intercept that? No, we don't, but the Kiowa does survive, and that's lucky here for Forward. Mirage, not the best fighter. The Magic 2, not the best missiles, but still, one 4 hit point helicopter here surviving is pretty lucky nonetheless. Gets landed this time around, so it will make it out alive, whilst Forward takes the northern zone. Tanner immediately taking Foxtrot, so we have a real front line already set up.
Yeah, Surblinde tried to challenge the middle and took a shot against the Bradley, but the Bradley's 3 armor was enough to survive this, and the Surblinde was done. But Tanner's line of defense consists, the recon consists of the Vab Rasids, and the Rasids, much like the the West German exceptional optics, fast-moving cars are both cheap and very maneuverable. So this allows Tanner to keep a tab on where the expensive units, such as the M1A1 ACAV, the Recon Forward Deployment Abrams is. The Forward Deployment Abrams moving in to meet immediately a Milan 2 and having to smoke out and push back the the welcoming committee from the French were waiting to get a chance against this ACAV, and Tanner immediately buying two more Milan twos, coming with Milan transports as well. So the hard attack on the south is and the soft attack up north are kind of the two sides of the French division. Up north, we have AMX 30Bs with a very bad hard attack, very good soft attack, and reservists which don't even get AT weapons. But down south, we have all of the Mephistos and Milan 2s that you
Yeah,
could ever
Tanner
want.
trying a bit of a flank in the north, but the forward is ready for flanking shenanigans as well, having a Bradley in the commanding position to shut down the northern two roads and getting any kind of flanking shenanigans ongoing. Razid in the center getting through as well. Mirage is actually being used as strafers here. A bit dangerous, but the Mirage 200 is a really fast plane, so if necessary, it can run away from the F-16 on the other side. At the same time, Mephisto now trying to retaliate against the Bradley. Good smoke usage there. Mirage not able to kill it off. Meanwhile, Jaguar another air spam. And the air spam here, I like the idea from Tanner, but it is risky. We have Ihawk potential on the other side, and we have the F-16s, which outclass the French fighters. So, yeah, risky deal here. You can't allow the Jaguars to the F-16 to shut down the Jaguars, and this is going to be an interesting fight here in the long run.
This is true, but the getting the Ihawks on board is away, possibly from the tempo that Forward 34 wants to keep on going. The Abrams are 270 points; they're very expensive, and the infantry that 11th ACAV has needs to be on board to allow for situations such as a town fight in the Alpha Town, in the Blue Town here. The fight in the Alpha Town could be very tactically beneficial for Forward 34 because it would cut out a reinforcement route that Tanner would have to attack the sawmill up the hill there. So, and it does seem that with this kind of early infantry incursion and with the Bradleys, the town is a target currently. Targeting the town would also kind of dodge the massive hard attacked AP weapons that Tanner has been investing down south here.
Yeah, we see in the south right now a lot of Milan 2s for Tanner and Mephisto, so that there's a lot of ATJMs ready for any M1A1 trying to retake Foxtrot. The question is, what is happening in that town fight? The Hot Gazelles trying to fight the Bradleys. Bradleys actually put on return fire to dodge being spotted here. Gazelles now shooting missiles though, and one trades against the Bradley. That's a fine trade for the Gazelle Hot. They are cheap, expendable helicopters. The Bradleys are pretty expensive as they're all recon Bradleys, paying extra for the recon capabilities. So losing two of them there is pretty painful for Forward right now. Whilst the Gazelle Hot, another great air asset, but another one that can falter if Forward ever wrestles the air dominance out of Tanner's hands here.
Yeah, and speaking of that, two Ihawks have been bought, one up north and one to the middle at Bravo. And after, if these Ihawks are allowed to fire and are allowed to exist and don't get taken out by an artillery buy or a bomber buy, that could be a massive loss for Tanner, allowing giving the 11th horseman, an air advantage, is a massive problem because you need to mass a huge amount of fighters to actually fight against this, and those fighters would have to fly above the Eyehawks constantly, and the French don't have an Eyehawk equivalent. Though on the other side, Eyehawks are not easily transportable. They need to be loaded on the trucks to move, so the artillery is actually better at killing them than cubes or books, which are tracked, self-moving, self-propelled AI units.
Yeah, M1A1 ACAF rotating back here now. AMX Alpha 1 retaliating against the engineered dragons in the town, trying to hit them. And the AMX Alpha 1, really great asset. I would like to move a bit closer to the front line in the long run, but yeah, with its autoloader, it's one of the most efficient artillery pieces in the game. And if it has some recon to allow it to have accurate shot, it gets even better. So that is a great unit also to deal with Eyehawks once you find their position. We don't see that yet though, as the Eyehawks aren't unloaded yet. But Alpha 1 coming in against the Stinger here right now, whilst the infantry are forward, slowly overwhelming Tanner's infantry in the south. Tanner with fewer infantry units than you would usually expect out of 5th, which is one of the more infantry-heavy tank divisions. But yeah, the focus on air and ATGM play here, costing him a bit in the amount of infantry that he can bring into the battlefield.
Yeah, the dismounted troopers are lavishly equipped both with AT4s and 3 light machine guns, and they're also security traits, so you get an extra point of optics with them when they're standing still. The dismounted troopers, the reason they have so many machine guns is because they are basically 3 squads of 2 men, 2 combat pairs getting put into a 1 6-man squad, and but going 1v1 against the French, the machine gun advantage does actually give them a pretty good way to go fight against the French infantry, but the French can compensate against this by having large amounts of VABs with the heavy machine gun, fast transported heavy machine guns. But of course, the fast launching AT4s can pick out the VABs, as they are currently doing around Alpha. Because these disposable launchers are very fastly reloaded.
Yeah, we have now a Marder for support pushback forward. The Mephistos and other ATGMs of Tanner currently not in position. Mephisto would be excellent at dealing with them, as it outranges the Milan missiles with its Hot 2 missiles, so it can just kite the Marders if necessary and shoot them from afar, plus it obviously one-shots them as well. Meanwhile, Tanner trying to push in the north, and I think that's a major mistake here. The position in the north is completely entrenched by forward, and yeah, Tanner losing his MX-30 there, and with that losing his power to hold the front line there, which is a problem, because that tree line stops forward from pushing down the hill into Alpha, or maybe even going the long way around into attacking Tanner's reinforcements route. So yeah, he should have just stayed there in the defensive position, and by seeing how few units forward has in the south, he should know how many units forward has in the north there, so shouldn't even attempt that. But that's obviously always easier said than done when you have the super view that we have here. For the viewers, the knowledge obviously way more reduced.
Yes, everybody needs to remember the law of Warno dynamics, that the unit concentrations always have their relative unit diffusions as well. Forward in the south, I think Forward very smartly realized that the massive investment into ATGMs meant that there were likely any kind of a tank push would be futile. So actually investing into an infantry attack, both to capture the southern tree line as well as to just put units out there, has kind of left all these AT and AA French AA units kind of just sucking their own thumbs and not really knowing what to do here when infantry is pushing towards them. Forward has also invested into 3 heavy mortars, tracked mortars, to be able to smoke large front lines. And the example on down south of Yuri Tanner's AT front
Oh,
line.
really important air fight right now in the north. We get an F-16 shut down. Forward not microing the F-16s at all, just diving deep with them, and that's a major mistake as the second F-16 is now also in front of the Mirages, and they get the kill there as well. Double kill here for Tanner on the F-16, and that is a big throwback for Forward's chances of getting the air dominance here, which he should get if he plays it right, but yeah, losing two F-16s like that is big, and that will allow Tanner to keep the air dominance for a good while longer here. Two Jaguars immediately coming in to counter-strike the push in the south, and yeah, that was a major mistake by Forward there.
Yeah, the so the smoke push with small amounts of infantry and large amount of smoke, and the Eyehawks getting a hit at the Jaguar, also revealing their positions for the second AUF one. That is already aiming at. Yes, it is already aiming at the Eyehawk. So the damage done against the Jaguar is not in vain.
But good reaction by Forward, immediately loading in the Eyehawk. Yeah, knowing what is
Oh, that's
happening there, and knowing that the Eyehawk is his lifeline here. If he lets the Jaguars lose now, especially with the loss of the F-16s, he is done for. If the Eyehawks die here, he basically has lost the game already, so he needs to keep the Eyehawks alive. So the micro here, absolutely top-notch, keeping the priorities right. Might lose an infantry unit or so right now because he doesn't micro the front line, because he has to micro the Eyehawks, but that would be absolutely worth it. Doesn't even lose any here because Tanner not pushing forward in the south, which he could do right now, but obviously doesn't quite know how much there is on the forward side either. And yeah, Forward still on the +2 tick here. That's big as well. Any point tick advantage that you get on this map is big, and 275 points on most map ain't much. On Black Forest, it's a lot, because usually you only get a +1 or +2, and with that, it takes 5 minutes or more to retake that advantage, which, with only 25 minutes remaining, is a long time.
Yeah. So the momentum here is down south is switching to Tanner's side, and Tanner has brought out a couple of tanks as well as a Surblinde to push against the smaller amount of units that are currently holding the southern position. But these smokes have repositions. They were counter batteried earlier, and they managed to micro themselves away. They are actually trying to bombard and trying to do damage against this infantry leader here, it seems. But yeah, the way that the French do these kind of slug fights, and the way that everybody does, but the French do it even more than others because they lack the main battle tanks, is by building these long fronts of Mephistos and Milans. So investing into these mortars to be able to quickly shut down and blind these long-range engagements for Tanner is very smart in my opinion. Though I'm not really sure how much this firepower here can actually keep this zone going on, even with the self-propelled howitzer. And there is no leader currently, not even close by, that could keep Foxtrot.
Yeah, we see Tanner also getting one Eyehawk in the north, which might allow Tanner to just pummel the northern sector now with air, because the other Eyehawks are out of range for hitting Charlie, or protecting Charlie rather. And I think it was the VRLRA that is currently going through the rear that spotted that Eyehawk, which was a really good maneuver there by Tanner, really once more showing his prowess and keeping the map active, never stopping maneuvering, which we already saw working really well in game 1. And yeah, we see it now. 6 AMX-30Bs now rolling in for the north, and yes, there's an M1A1 there, yes, there's a Bradley there, but they don't have any protection against airplanes now, so once they're spotted, they both will most likely fall quickly against any airplanes, and then Charlie will fall, and then Tanner will be the one with the +2 here.
Yeah, so there are 2 units that can be killed by 2 to 3 bombers, and the rest is AMX-30 fodder. The AMX-30B, once again, we want to remind people, this is the older generation tank which has high explosive anti-tank shells instead of modern kinetic penetrators. This means that they do not gain more damage the closer they get, so they are complete garbo against heavy tanks. the AMX-30B2s, the more expensive ones, have both more damage and gain damage by getting close.
Yeah, we see now in the north VABs rotating around, Grenadier Voltigeurs engaging the engineers there. Good fight as well. We see a Gazelle Hot trying to kill off the Bradley in the north. I think the Eclair did spot that. So yeah, it's there for the kill. So the Bradley in trouble as well, and it seems like Tanner might get full control over the forest area of the map, and then the reinforcement roads off forward would be in trouble as well. So I feel like forward now under pressure to get a victory in the south, but that seems achievable now thanks to that amazing smoke play combined with the stronger tanks in the form of the M1A1s. We have 3 M1A1s now in the south, and there is only the ATGMs really there to kill them, and with the smoke play, they will have a hard time here getting a shot on target.
Yeah, but on the other side, the ALF ones have been upvetted by a leader, giving them massive reload and aim bonuses. So they are going to very fastly try to weaken these pushes. Though on the forward 34 side,
Mephisto's engaging. Okay, they get stopped in time. That got spotted there. AMX 30B Brandis in the south has to disengage as well. 2 VAB Mephistos already taken out here. One by artillery, one by the M1A1s that, thanks to the smoke screen, got close enough. There's one really low M1A1, but it is still alive. And yeah, the southern situation here, armored-wise, is going badly for Tanner. So Tanner needs to pull the trigger in the north soon.
Yeah. Forward is bringing out 3 Marder Milans, which earlier when these were bought, I wondered why they were coming to this position and not somewhere else. But I think the idea might be that that the mortars will smoke these ATGM emplacements, and then the cheap and expendable and yet pretty well armored Marder 1A3s will drive through the smoke and use their autocannons to destroy all of these soft targets, including Mephistos. But now that the Mephistos are all taken out, don't necessarily need to do that anymore. You could maybe actually even put the Marder Milans to threaten the town.
Yeah, really good usage of the recon vehicles here by forward, spotting the AMX of 1, but not the AMX of 1, the MX-10RC. The AMX of 1 on the other side, though, got a kill onto one of the M1A1s, and we have a Jaguar seat here protecting a lot of Jaguars with kill packages. ATGMs and HEs coming in here to kill off the forces. M1A1 Bradley and the Bradley both going down there, both recon vehicles down, and the IHawk not able to fire there thanks to the seat. So all the Jaguars getting out alive. Great strike there, great usage of the seat plane as well by Tanner. And he loses the Brandis as well, but the armored advantage that forward had here for a long while got reduced a bit. It's still there, but at least it got reduced a bit, and now the IHawk, this time not loaded back in, is under fire by the ALF-1, and that might end really badly for forward here.
Yeah, so Tanner down south actually has only a single AT weapon, which is with the recon squad, the Eclairers. There is nothing else that does hard damage. If he realizes this, it could literally just right-click through.
Both IHawks going down. Both IHawks are down here, so no long-range AA for forward anymore. We have a couple of stingers, we have a couple of pivots, which in the long run could maybe whittle down the enemy forces, but the Jaguars here with their fast speed and their great payload now have a lot of damage that they can do. Meanwhile, Bradley in the north under fire by the AMX-30 Swarm coming in. The only big danger here is the M1A1. We need a strike package for that. Nothing coming in right now for Tanner. That's a mistake in my eyes. But yeah, he is pushing in the north quite badly now.
Yeah, the Chasseur, the French AT weapons, the LRAX and the Apilans have 750-meter range, which makes the Grenadier Voltigeurs and excellent they are capable of driving the Abrams back to further positions, even if they can't necessarily fight it, because the amount of damage that can be done, the amount of suppression that can be done to the Abrams is just not worth it. Here we see 2 Jaguar Cs and a Jaguar HE pushing up the north. The sawmill is being taken by a very well organized two-flank human wave attack supported by the older generation armor and a bunch of artillery. So it seems like the top and the bottom positions are getting switched right now. Even the Sea Knight getting taken out by the recon car maybe here if the 50 caliber machine gun can get a couple of good bursts. No, it can't.
But at the same time, we had a southern push here. Tanner with maybe a bit too few units right now. The Mephistos all going way too deep here. They should hold where they are right now. Oh, they might be able to get one M1A1 here. Forward might be microing north right now. No, they aren't. So the Mephistos need to get out there right now, run for their life. They are fast. That's the big advantage of them. There is another Hot 2 weapon with an MX-10 Hot that has a bit more armor, but doesn't quite have the speed. That's always the trade-off between those two. Meanwhile, M1A1s in the north get taken out by the AT Jaguars. So yeah, the switch does happen. Forward still with the point advantage though. So Tanner needs to do more damage, but Tanner with the air dominance I think is also capable of doing that more damage. The question is, can it happen fast enough here?
Yeah, the P4 command vehicle is not up top, so even if the zones get equalized, forward is going to have more than 6, maybe 700 point advantage. Meanwhile, forward is actually taking a position, taking infantry kind of siege positions down south, leading Tanner to call into a quick response force of 2 squads of commandos. With Super Pumas, which will be trying to fortify the town. I think the armor that has been relieved from down south is not moving west, where the Gazelle Hots and the Mephistos live, but they are actually pushing up north, where dismounted troopers and engineers are already spotting enemies and engaging them.
Yeah, the Panzer Grenadier here pushing forward, and really it shows that Tanner maybe had a bit too little investment into infantry screens here, as the Panzer Grenadiers and the dismounted troopers of forward were able to non-stop push forward throughout this game and always spot the ATGM vehicles of Tanner that Tanner really likes and that Tanner relied heavily on in this game to keep the enemy zoned out. And yeah, really good realization by forward there that M1A1s might not be the way forward directly, but the infantry pushing the ATGM vehicles out of position and then following it up with the tank does work out here. M1A1 CP actually being kept out of Alpha at least by great hits by the Milan 2s, but Alpha still under heavy pressure here. The commandos can't come in fast enough here with their special forces. Ooh, their Super Pumas under fire, but I think they can get here out here in this town just in time. There we go. Commandos have landed and they are absolutely necessary to hold this town here now.
Yeah, see, it really does seem like this is becoming a defensive game for Tanner, with forward having a point lead here, not the tick lead, but well, I mean, actually now they're getting the tick lead as well, considering the Abrams is in the town now. These engagements have been done very like exceptionally well. Counterplayed from forward. Forward realizing that Tanner had massed ATGM down south, sending the ACAV, the recon Abrams, to spot this, immediately switching to push Foxtrot with infantry and investing early on into this large front of smoke mortars. That was such a clean way to negate all of this very good French long range defense, and at that point, when you're getting counterplayed like that, Tanner has to start improvising. And even though a lot of fundamentals, such as taking out the iHawks happen from Tanner's side, the basic engagements just have never just gone Tanner's way that well. The way that Tanner has been able to take engagements have been with good ATG and micro and with aircraft, but that is just not enough when the kind of fundamental situation is that the Abrams blob is growing. Right now we're seeing 2 Mephistos hit an Abrams, take it down,
I think
on it.
What is the issue here of Tanner is that he's not having a good mix of units. Like, it's too many ATGM vehicles. Like, the air they are strong, but 2 or 3 less, and having a couple more AMX-30s with their fantastic anti-infantry capabilities thanks to their extra autocannons, I think would go way further than just having more Mephistos here. Like, having 4 Mephistos instead of having 2 Mephistos and an AMX-30, I think is a really big mistake, because yes, the AMX-30 also can't take a direct fight with an M1A1, but it at least can survive a shot or two on long range, whilst the Mephistos and the VABs and the Gazelles all just die one-shot to the enemy units here, and that's the big problem here. Tanner losing too many units one-shot because they have no meat in front of them at all.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I think there's kind of a meta game that people play with 11E, not with 11E, with the 11th ACAP, which includes having the forward deployment Abrams go to Foxtrot. So this was the tactic here from Tanner was counterplaying something that forward was too smart to be caught at. Forward found out what was going on, realized this with certainly most likely an extensive experience playing this map and division, and then realized that just by getting like 2 small weak infantry units in the Foxtrot, you can completely discombobulate the defense.
Yeah, and forward is losing a lot of units here right now. Like, the kill list is completely full with red units right now, including some M1A1s. But he gets into the rear zone, and that is a +4 on this map. And Tanner only has 11 minutes to change that with an 800-point lead, so he must now completely swipe the floor, which is not completely impossible thanks to his air, but is still highly unlikely. If the Jaguars can find a couple more M1A1s and he can just roll forward with some AMX 30B2s, which are finally coming in, and get a couple of CV units into all the southern zones and get the +8, he might be able to do it, but it will be tough to achieve that at this stage in the game, and it's only 11 minutes, and it's nearly a 1,000 point lead by now, and I think Echo won't fall fast enough here, and that means forward will get it even further ahead.
Yeah, the push from the town to south and southeast is maybe the main way that the situation on the board could start changing. But the problem is that there are 2 Abrams, one of them fully in full health and one of them in repairing. And if those Abrams start peeking out, they can one-shot basically everything that is out here. And the reservists don't have infantry AP
Yeah,
weapons.
the really big play here is getting Echo. Like, if Echo wouldn't have been captured right now, it would be a 700-point lead for forward, and Tanner would be in a position to push towards Foxtrot and Bravo quite quickly, but he's not just captured Echo, he's also dug in there with infantry, and going through that point is just really, really painful. At least the Stingers were prevented from getting in there, so the Alouette will be able to spot this whole position, but it still doesn't make it easy to get back in there, and every single second that ticks by here is just so massive, because a +4 lead on this map is just so many points that the enemy has to get back on you, and with 10 minutes remaining, I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, like infantry, even though I said I did mention that the infantry tab is small with the dismounted troopers and the panzer grenadiers and the engineers dragon, as well as I believe a single card of mech rifles dragon being kind of the only thing that you have here. All of these infantry units are being taken on 0 vet for forward, for the reason that you just don't get that many cards. But despite all of this, they have been used very well. They have been used in combination with the heavier fire support, so the amount of damage that they need to do is not actually that relevant. There
Yeah,
never was a massive
Tanner
town
has a
battle.
P4 fast CV in the rear here, and Tanner, I think it's just all about the speed now, but it's 8 minutes 50. He needs all the points right now. A +8 would change this. A +6 would be big as well. He needs Delta basically, and I think he still has the chance for it, but he needs to move quicker than he is doing right now. And he might even use the AMX Alpha 1 there, because there's still one Panzer Grenadier that he hasn't spotted, or does he? Okay, no, he has it. Jaguar HE coming in for it, but he needs to get quickly through this now. Finally getting the point back, but 1,400 points. Really, really good play there by forward into getting into the rear zone. Really overwhelming Tanner there. A bit too hard potentially here now. Tanner getting a +2 here in a second. once Echo is captured, and as he's in Bravo right now as well. But can he get more than that? He needs a +8 at this stage.
Yeah, the Abrams are just in the middle, are just retreating. They're waiting for reinforcements. They're waiting for more troops. They're waiting to get a better engagement. But right here, we got an AMX-30, elite AMX-30, taking out an Abrams on close range, getting that bonus from the kinetic damage, taking out a very, very crucial unit. Air
Yeah,
superiority is still pretty fully on Tanner's side as well. And
the
the
Cyanide
way
is big
from
here, though. The Cyanide helicopter can stop this here quite nicely right now, as we don't have a fighter on the board to shut that down. Another Jaguar seat coming in. The other one needs to gun down the Cyanide, as we have an Iltis leader coming in as well. Nothing is going for the helicopter there. Forward, using that really, really nicely here. And that might be the end of the MX-30. It gets for the VAB Milan first, but the MX-30 pretty stressed out here as well. Engineer Dragon there doing a good job and finding the kill there now. Finally, the Jaguars going for it. Oh no, bit out of ammo. No, it just lost the spotting there. Pivot pushing back both seaplanes, and we even see an M1A1 CV coming in the north again.
yeah,
Tanner somehow losing the north. How did that happen again? Forward invested a good bit there, but Tanner should not have been able to lose that north with the amount of AMX-30 investment that he had there. Completely squandering that, and that will, I think, ruin his chances of coming back here. Even losing the CV in the south to the dismounted troopers, so not even fully capturing Foxtrot.
Yep.
He has a P4 PC in the rear that could have already run down towards Delta, but he hasn't used that either, and I think this is it. Losing the north and not getting Foxtrot, losing a super important CV there, not using his P4. Really not playing the pushback game well enough here right now.
Yeah, I did some math meanwhile, and it's pretty close to mathematically impossible by now. Up north, it was just it was a CEV and 2 Abrams, and as well as just like a consistent push with mech rifles, Dragon, and other infantry units, Engineers Dragon also. And the Abrams were allowed to keep on doing the damage, as all of the air units were used on the other pushes. So up north, the point was lost.
And even the south gets recaptured here by Forward. So Forward stopping the tick completely again. And you have +8 potentially even. At this stage he would need a +8 with 320 points per minute, but he doesn't have a CV in the north. He doesn't have a CV that's moving in the center. He has a Grenadier Voltigeer, but that doesn't have a transport. He has the P4, which finally starts moving from the rear. But really, really good play here by Forward, and the mad dash to Echo really starts to pay off dividends here. Without that, I still think even now Tanner would have a chance. Like, it would have been 600, 700 points, but the extra +4 that ran for 3, 4, 5 minutes there really ruined Tanner's chances here.
We're seeing the weaknesses of the French AT here, which is that French AT is good when it's flying, it's good when it's on defense, and it's good when it's on infantry AT range. But when it comes to regular engagements, especially attacking armor, the French just lack the tools. They need to have both air supremacy and very good air control to be able to compensate for these weaknesses. And I wouldn't even call the push to Echo a mad dash, more like just a very calculated breakthrough. The mad dash would imply that there was something risky about it, but this was Forward calling the bluff that there is nothing out there covering that can stop like 3 Abrams, and just going for it.
Yeah, pivot under fire. Bradley moving forward. Command, Grenadier Voltigeers under fire there, but Forward even going now for Alpha, as yeah, too many units here lost on the mad dash forward by Tanner, squandering a couple too many units around. And not using the air assets with the right prioritization, I think, as well. Like, they should have gone for CV units, they should have gone for tanks, and leave the dealing with enemy infantry to the MX-30B2s. But he instead focused all the HE Jaguars on those units, and all the MX-30s then got killed by M1A1s, got killed by enemy ADGMs in form of helicopters or ground units, and that left him with few forces here now on the ground, +2 for Forward again, and with only 3 minutes left. Yeah, it's a GGVP situation here. forward with a fantastic game. Uh, Even though completely under pressure, non-stop, like the situation where you lose both Ihawks and after the squandering the F-16s, I thought it was over, but really playing well, really staying calm and collected, and that push towards Echo just abusing the weakness of Tanner perfectly.
Yeah, Tanner maybe just trying to play a bit too smart. Just having a bit more fundamentals, mixing the troops up just a bit better. Instead of having 680 GMs, you could have had four with a couple of tanks there, and also the fact that the ACAV has kind of managed to be keep up the tempo from the very start. There was never a moment in which massive losses were like suffered when it was relevant, and even with the AT planes coming in and the Jaguars coming in swarms, the there were some Jaguar AT shots that did miss, and crucially, they could have maybe changed the game. But this does not mean that Tanner would have necessarily won. It would have just meant that the game could have maybe lasted a bit longer, or not longer, but it would have been a bit more equal.
Well, I mean, the Jaguar ATs, yeah, they balance out over time. You can't expect them to always hit, and there were enough missiles fired that it equalized out around the 60%,
Yeah,
I think. And yeah, Tanner still playing here.
Tanner
Maybe
still
not quite
sending the
realizing
last
how little
P4
time is
up
left.
north,
But yeah,
Celavi.
P4 going up north there, dying to the cyanide. It seems pretty GG at this point. I don't quite know what other possibilities here are left. M1A1, yeah, Tanner really not wanting to give up here, playing it till the end, but there's nothing to be done at this. A lot more chasseurs coming in here. And we have M109s moving forward as well, but this is basically it at this stage.
Yeah, 40 seconds left.
And even
Tanner quite.
here, adding insult to injury, Iltisfer getting it once more a tick on board for forward, really showing that he deserved that win. It wasn't just due to luck or anything. It was really well played skill here in the Southern gameplay. Not getting as many unfortunate losses as he did in game number one, playing a bit more collected throughout the game and more focused around the flanks. Even though obviously Black Forest allowing for more flanks than two lakes, but keeping any side shenanigans to a minimum and playing the straightforward game with 11th just really, really well here.
Yeah, I also thought that the counterattacks up the sawmill, up Charlie, from forward would be a bad idea, considering the French human wave attacks managed to beat it. But despite this, the counterattacks did work. So shows what I know.
Yep, really well done there by both players in the end, I think. But yeah, Tanner winning the kill game here in the end, but that is a bit of a fake number there because a lot of the points that Tanner had were into airplanes, which didn't affect the ground balance at all in the direct way. So yeah, there is a 2,000 point difference, but there's also nearly a 2,000 point difference in air investment there. So the ground forces in the end were pretty similar still. And yeah, well played by forward, using the one moment of weakness that Tanner had in the south to a maximum extent, getting everywhere where he needed to be, and getting a well-deserved draw here in the end.
Yeah. And I would like to point out that the AMX out ones just look at how much they can achieve when they're controlled well enough. There are some people say that it's not worthwhile to buy an extra leader, a P4 car, leader car, or whatever, to upvet your artillery. But we've seen a lot of players do that, and it really seems to just be a correct choice. Minus 40 reload speed, I believe minus 20 or minus 30 aim speed for two vetted artillery. This is like massive difference in the long term. and just the amount of units that you can take if you yourself want to be competitive, learning to do artillery micro seems to be the way to go here.
Yeah, the one of the AMX are once actually leveling up in this game, so they went veteran C3 in the end, thanks to the kills and the CB next to it. But it still wasn't enough. Like, yeah, I like the play style idea of Tanner. It just missed a couple of AMX 30 B2s there. Like, I think that's what it comes down to. A couple more autocannons, a couple more tank guns that can hold a position were lacking there, and that really did hurt him there. Maybe a bit too many AMX 30Bs spammed into the north, where they could have been used better elsewhere, and then the counter push in the south, even after the loss of the IROCs, just using that moment where all the Jaguars were reloading, getting forward to victory here. So that finishes off this series, but we aren't finished yet for the day, guys. We have another group with another series coming. Stahlbrecher versus the beautiful, beautiful wooden box. So don't go anywhere, guys. We're gonna be back in a second. Okay, here we are, everybody, with another Division 1 game. As we are moved from Group A to Group C and now into Group B. with a really strong group here. Neff, Lafens, Woodenbox, and Stahlbrecher. And I think we have 3 really, really high level players and one player that has to show that they are up for the match, with Stahlbrecher being a bit of an underdog here. Yes, second place last season in Division 2, and for sure a really strong player on their own, but all of the other 3 might be at least second stage favorites for the tournament, with Lafens being a top level favorite for sure. So we'll see how well Stahlbrecher can keep it up in this series. And if you want to make it a bit more of a motivation for all of these players to do well, check out the Match Arena, guys, and help the players out with a bit of extra support here. Clicking the claim code button adds money completely. You don't have to pay anything, and they will get the money in the end. So it supports the scene a bit. And obviously, you can contribute directly if you want to support it even more. Every little bit is appreciated. Also, if you have a Twitch Prime laying around, as I'm already in the chill mode right now, consider leaving it on the channel, or becoming a channel member on YouTube if you're watching it on YouTube, and consider leaving a like and a follow as well if you're enjoying the content. Thanks to all the followers today already again: Ante Rob, The Flying Ryan, Lily Bina, Goose, Crowhold, and Co. Hope you're all having a good time. Welcome to the channel. And yeah, let's get into the action. The wooden box, bringing around 2nd Panzer Grenadier, Stahlbrecher, 8th Infantry. So this is a nice NATO action with 2 8-tier level divisions, I would say.
Yeah.
How do you like the setups here?
So from the 2nd Panzer Grenadier, we're seeing a pretty strong forward deployment meta opener with not a. I think this is a good forward deployment opener because it's not just massing a large amount of Fallschirmjägers, but it's taking Fallschirmjägers into very important strategic positions and then following them up immediately by a squadron of Leopard 1s and Marder 1A3 Milans, as well as a Jaguar to take out any to challenge and threaten any early on Abramses. On the we don't see Wooden Box exploiting the forward deployment advantage in trying to get into Oscar, which I think might be a little bit of a mistake. But of course, we don't know what the ways that they're planning to win the game. On the other side, with Stahlbrecher, Stahlbrecher is bringing out a large amount of infantry into also pretty standard defensive positions. Not no units going to deploy to challenge each other, and but a bunch of troops, some amount of troops invested by Stahlbrecher to clear Oscar. So that's likely units that this fact will likely allow Wooden Box a small advantage in the engagements in the early game that Stahlbrecher is investing up north and Wooden Box isn't. But considering how passive these openers are, I doubt that'll mean that much. Though it's also always possible that Box is gonna try to get like a critical mass of opener mech and then just drive through to Lima. Wooden Box historically, back in the early parts of early access, used to play 2nd Panzer Grenadier with a recon vehicle rush of Luxus and scimitars, and would just ruin people easily. So this aggressive streak, I doubt it's gone anywhere. It's just the game is less broken nowadays.
Double F-16 AA coming around to protect the Cobra. Yeah, as usually on the other side, you see F-16s on the often quite as well, and the F-16s on 8 sides are a bit stronger, but that means a lot of points into airplanes that will lag a bit on the ground as well. The Cobra can rotate south quite quickly if it realizes it is needed at Lima. I like the mech rifle dragons. One way to push the victory here, I think, for Stahlbrecher is using the stronger infantry that they have with the 8th Infantry here, as they have a lot of fire teams and mech rifles with which have more firepower than the German infantry. The Fallschirmjägers only having 1 MG3s, Panzer Grenadiers being low hit points, and even the Jägers, yes, they are 11 hit points, but they only have 1 MG3 as well. But the mech rifles on the other side, with their triple M249, just having a lot more firepower, and the engineered dragons, if they get into CQC, having the shock trade, can overwhelm infantry as well. Plus you have the Ranger Special Forces, which outclass the Fallschirmjäger on the other side as well. So going for a bit slow, going for the grind match here is the right decision for 8th, considering that you don't have the forward deploy. And yeah, let's see how well the grind can go here for Stahlbrecher with the F-16s already flying. Or if Woodenbox can use the bit more mobile force here, especially considering that you have some IFVs with the Martyrs that 2nd Panzergrenadier can bring.
Yeah, the fighters here, the double fighter opener. I think it's because so many times people open the 2nd Panzergrenadier with a Fallschirmjäger rush, and these Fallschirmjäger rushes are best countered with rocket helis such as the Cobras, because the Fallschirmjägers don't have forward deployment AA support. So accompanying a Fallschirmjäger rush is pretty much always a bunch of Belgian F-16s or even a Tornado to protect them from the helicopters. So this was kind of the two F-16s on Stahlbrecher's sides were preparation for this, and but now they're going to be sitting down there in the reserve and waiting for the box to start bringing out. What do they get? Tornadoes generally, and Tornadoes being a expensive bomber is probably not the best investment in the early game here.
Yeah, using a mix 90 opener here with the double F air really makes sense, and I think it's a good opener for Stahlbrecher here, who in general is a player that likes to play the conservative match plan. We see that from Stahlbrecher quite a lot. A player that also always is kind of vocal about cheese to some extent as well, not enjoying that too much. So the standard game plan so far working out quite decent here for our German player on the right side. But now that we see the first engagements, the big question is how will they go for both sides here, as a Woodenbox, thanks to the air opener on Stahlbrecher's side, and the heavy investment into the south for sure has a potential of getting overwhelming forces here in the south. But Stahlbrecher with the defender's advantage most likely at the beginning. So let's see how that goes. M1A1 already starting to engage the Martyr. Quick reaction from Woodenbox though, protecting it from going down. But getting the infantry into the south, that's a nice one. Good movement of the Cobra though. I really like that Cobra movement there on the flank from Stahlbrecher. Trying to get on top of the infantry here. And M1A1 still engaging as well.
Here comes the Belgian helicopter killer, and will it get a double hit in here?
Oh, great hit from the Eyehawk, but it gets the kill, and the other F-16 is not coming out quick enough. They might be still on reload because they stayed out maybe a bit too long in the early opener, using up all their fuel, as otherwise the F-16s could have been called in here by Stahlbrecher to maybe counter that. Eyehawk, yeah, coming in just a second too late there with the hit, allowing the Belgian unit to get its missiles onto the Cobra. Annoying loss there for Stahlbrecher, who I think played it unit-wise completely right, but yeah, good hits.
Artillery targeting and getting a hit, and maybe even getting a kill against the Eyehawk early on. Heavy howitzer M110 coming from Woodenbox. So I believe that when you're on Woodenbox's side here, or maybe even on both sides, the safest and most conservative way to start attacking is by getting troops into the southern forest, even though the forest has been kind of trimmed and it's not a single contiguous area anymore. Getting there, getting these Panzergrenadier Martyrs allows you such tactical mobility. As we can see, now that the forest has been taken out, all of the mech can follow them and take new positions and exercise more fire control on the middle. This is like officer school basic 101 coming from Woodenbox, and immediately prepare, waiting for the counter by the expensive and large infantry squads of the Americans, which are primary targets for the Messerschwaffe.
Yeah, way too late here coming in with the F-16s from Stahlbrecher. One of the mistakes that I have seen in the past from Stahlbrecher as well, that the planes might be necessary to be put on a hotkey here to call them in a bit quicker, as Stahlbrecher has been late on calling in planes in the past as well. And yeah, that counter-artillery against the Eyehawk, really devastating. Eyehawk didn't have a transport. The transport was sold as well, which is a slight mistake there by Stahlbrecher as well, which we saw better from forward in the last game. Yeah, you want to be able to reload your Ihawk so that you don't lose it to artillery, because obviously they're prime artillery targets. And the push with the mech rifles in the center, a bit over eager here by Stahlbrecher as well, running out of infantry in the center already due to 2 mech rifle teams being caught out in the open here by the enemy. I'm not sure what that was all about, as he saw that he was on the defensive in the south, so going into the town with 2 infantry units, not sure what the hope there was, as they didn't really achieve much. M1A1 getting a good shot onto the Leos, but they unfortunately for Stahlbrecher do survive for now. Okay, gets one now. Should push for the kill onto the second one as well, as the Ranger Dragons holding on to dear life as the MR10 comes down on them.
Yeah, this requires, even though Box is moving very methodically, take very slowly, all of these engagements are taken perfectly from Box's side, and this requires similar methodical build-up from Stahlbrecher, and Stahlbrecher just can't walk into the trap of engaging right here, not before an actual technological superiority has been achieved by the American units on board.
He has the technology superiority right now of having having M1A1s against only Leo 1A1s on the other side. Took 2 out with a nice kill there. I have no idea what the F-16s are doing there. They shouldn't be here. Ihawks on the other side having a field day there right now. One might go down. It barely survives as it gets out of max range of the Ihawk. The Ihawk missile exploding right behind it there. But yeah, it will be out for a long time, and we saw the Mehrzweckwaffe already on the other side. We don't have any ground AA, so the F-16s are absolutely key here. So putting them a bit too far forward, and that might cost them here in the long run. We see mech rifle dragons coming around. The M1A1s, though, are the units that really need to do the damage. One thing that is lacking right now for Stahl in the south is a recon unit, so I hope we will see another one here being brought in soon, because then the M1A1s can start to be effective here. They already caught a couple of units. They need to catch more, though.
Yeah, Stahlbrecher is pushing up with the Rangers up north, which is good in theory, but they are taking very bad engagements. Rangers have close-range Colt commandos instead of regular assault rifles, so fighting on max range against the Jaeger Aufklärer, despite the quality of the troops being massively on the side of the Rangers. On max range, the Jaeger Aufklärer does significant damages, alerts Wooden Box, who is already bringing up 2 tanks to defend the north.
We see an interesting and I think good idea play there with a TOW Cobra moving north now. So we have to remember that there is the F-16, the Belgian F-16 around for Stahlbrecher, for Wooden Box, but it might still be under repair. And yeah, Wooden Box is also prepared for it. Fliegerfausts are around. Otherwise, the TOW Cobra here really could do massive damage, but Wooden Box has the good combined arms set up there. Decent amount of defense. Not too much, but just the right amount. Brings a Milan 2 there now as well. Stopping Stahlbrecher from easily getting into X-Ray, and that's all he needs to do right now to force Stahlbrecher to focus back down on the south, because Stahl can't force annoying engagement in the north right now.
Yeah, another infantry push coming now from Stahlbrecher, but you look down south here. Wooden Box has already fortified this forest area massively, giving not just excellent recon but excellent positions to side shot the Abrams if the Abrams keep on pushing further.
Yeah, I would like to see some artillery from Stahlbrecher soon. Fliegerfaust currently engaging the TOW Cobra over the water. A lot of things going on here right now. The F-16 comes in the north as well, so the Cobra currently not microed away from the Fliegerfaust, which most likely soon going to find the kill there, as Stahl is being pulled all over the place here right now. Fliegerfaust find the kill, TOW Cobra goes down, and this is a troublesome position for Stahl still, though a couple of decent kills here now. F-16C showing the superiority over the F-16A of the Belgians. They're getting the kill onto its brethren, a really important one, saving the TOW Cobra at the same time. So, and yeah, a couple of Jaeger Aufklärers going down in the south, Fallschirmjäger going down as well. The M1A1s really starting to put in the pressure together with the mech rifles, and that is strong. Just I feel feel like Stahl should be careful not overextending here right now. If you push too hard now, you will get caught out by that flank in the south. And yeah, the M1A1's both taking massive hits, and the infantry should immediately retreat now because there's no fire support left here, and the martyrs will eat them alive if they push on without support. Oh, M1A1 eats another missile, gets routed there by the Milan 2. That's unfortunate for Stahlbrecher there. Only one M1A1 left right now to be active, and that one is heavily damaged and stressed out as well. So the mech rifles here being caught out on their own, and that's never what you want to have happen as the Americans, because they're so expensive.
Yeah, the wooden boxes build up down south, taking the small forest position is just you can see how massive the massive the results have been, the implications have been.
Well,
here.
Actually, mech rifle law might have made that all worthwhile with 2 law side shots into layer 1 there. Like, even if he loses the mech rifles now, cost-wise, with killing those 2, it might actually have already paid off. Ranger Dragon finds the Jaguar 2 as well. Wooden box this time around, the one that might slightly overextend here. And yeah, this really shows you how hard it is to push in the south if you're not careful. Ooh, LGB bomber missing its shot, and also having a tough time against the Hawks there. You can't use bombs in the south. I think if Stahlbrecher wants to use airplanes, they should focus on the north, where the Rangers right now run a bit too deep as well. Both sides here currently in a bit of a issue of not having enough forces to really push anywhere, but still wanting to probe, as you obviously need to figure out where the enemy is weak, but maybe losing too many forces doing so on both sides here right now.
Yeah, but you do want to you do want to do pressure if you have any kind of resources or units that can do pressure. Doing pressure is good in and of itself, because let's look in the northern situation. Even if Stahlbrecher loses all of these rangers, and like that is already a bunch of funds and money and troops invested by Wooden Box to defend the north. So I'm not sure if a continued attack will be smart, considering how incredibly built up Wooden Box flexing the tactical control muscles, pushing the infantry even further, and Stahlbrecher being only able to invest singular ranger squads to stop these hordes of West German infantry.
But a single ranger can dominate a couple of Panzer Grenadiers. The Pioneer Flamme are out of hand Flamme Patrone, but they usually the MP2 at least is a bit stronger nowadays, so it can do a bit of damage. M60 coming out with some fire support there though. One of the Handflamme Patrones still had a couple shots left, stressing out the Rangers pretty heavily, which otherwise aren't easily stressed. But the M60 actually might change that whole fight there still in favor of Stahlbrecher. Like, the German infantry, they're not the most capable, and the Ranger, yeah, doing a good job there. M1A1 really in a commanding position, as the Jaguar is down and all the Milans here of the Martyrs and the Fuchs are shot. So a single M1A1 completely controlling the point there, as the M1A1 in the south of Stahlbrecher also engaging the Pioneers there nicely. So still a strong position here. Cobra coming in as well, and I think Stahl is getting the zones back that he lost early on here. Bit costly maybe with the loss of the Cobra there, but doing it nonetheless.
Yeah, the Gepard getting micro to shoot the Cobra. The Cobra had a nice little moment before when the Gepard was looking at the other direction, but no longer. The Gepard also doing amazing damage against the LGB bomber. Very, very value unit.
Yeah, for everybody interested in the replays, as the question comes up in chat right now, you can always find all the tournament replays on the Discord. The channels are visible if you take the observer role on the Discord. Obviously, we didn't want to have everybody just see the channels, and if they don't want to see them. But yeah, if you take the observer role, you see all replay channels of all the ongoing tournaments, so you can check out the replays themselves if you want to go into more detailed analysis yourself. Yeah. In the meantime, in the north, Ranger Dragons versus Fallschirmjägers. Stahlbrecher winning another infantry fight there, bullying the Fallschirmjägers of the Germans, which are not considered special forces. And yeah, pushing in the south a bit as well. So I would like to see artillery here from Stahlbrecher's side. I think without artillery, with the unit concentration numbers that we have by now, it is kind of impossible to push in. Even though the American infantry is better than the German infantry here in these fights, thanks to the massive amount of MG firepower that they have more, they can't just fall their way in there.
Yeah, I'm missing the massive smoke motor waves. I'm missing the movements with the Abrams moving
Oh, and the
as
Tornado
they move. I'm
Mehrzweckwaffe.
not.
Oh, this run could be so bad for Stahlbrecher. That's 3 infantry units, potentially even 4 that get hit there. 3 getting deleted. The Mehrzweckwaffe once more showing why it's one of the most dangerous planes in the game. Mehrzweckwaffe Tornado here. One of the best tools that the 2nd Panzergrenadier has, because yes, the German infantry is not the strongest, but doesn't matter if you can just make enemy infantry disappear like a black magician and just evaporate them within a split second. The magic wonder dust here of the Mehrzweckwaffe, just removing them all.
Yeah, Rangers trying to take a position in the town, immediately running backwards, realizing this would be suicide. But enough infantry maybe being called by Stahlbrecher to actually capture back this very important this forest location that is currently
Yeah, and Leo
defended only by
once more being caught out. Like, the Wooden Box tried to get set up. As you can see, he still has a lot of Leo 1s here. And that's one of Wooden Box's favorite playstyles with this division and with both German divisions, but especially 2nd, which gets 2 cards of Leo 1s, is just getting that enormous Leo 1 ball and just moving it forward. But Stahlbrecher has been good at taxing that. He always has caught out Leos with his M1A1s, and he didn't lose his M1A1s. Like, that's the big advantage here that Stahlbrecher has, and that he really played well so far, is the M1A1 play, beating the lighter armor of the Germans, and that reduces the capabilities of the Leos because they need that critical mass and they don't get there at the moment.
Yeah, the Marder Milans actually running out of and Fuchs Milans running out of 18 missiles here. So the M60 and M1A1 actually there is a possibility here that if this can be spotted, that's pretty free kills from the Box's force. But Box bringing out a way more troops, bunch of logistics, infantry, more. The endless pockets of not the best but very affordable and easily replaceable West German infantry getting into the town here.
Yeah,
this is just. My mouth is watering over the idea of MLRS currently.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, that's, I think, why Stahlbrecher needs some artillery here right now. Like, cluster MLRS on any of the Leo 1 pockets would be devastating for its box. Any artillery hits onto the infantry positions would be really good as well. But it's currently only box with some M110s, and I think Stahlbrecher is one of the better artillery players. When we have seen Stahl in the past, artillery play was usually pretty good, so I'm a bit sad that we haven't seen any yet so far. Like, I think airplay and infantry play, Stahl is good, but not quite the top level when it comes to Division 1, where the competition obviously is really strong, but artillery and tank is the strength of our German player on the right side, and we see the tanks already doing wonders here with the M1A1s, but we don't see any artillery yet, and that might be a mistake.
Okay, so an LGB bomber coming here against. I just have to say this feels like such a wrong investment here, considering there are very few important expensive units, key units that need to be taken out. Actually, there is like none outside of the M11A2G and the iHawks. Everything else is expendable.
Yeah, and even the the Leo 118s are super cheap. Like, they are not worth bombing with an LGB kinda either. Like, they are a 80-point tank, so you need to kill 3 of them to pay off with your F-15, which is going to be hard in a IHawk-infested airspace. So, yeah, I feel like the LGB only could be useful in the north, where it's not used at the moment. And I guess it was hoping for Leo 2A3s, but it seems like the Wooden Box might be playing a really weird deck here without any Leo 2A3s whatsoever.
I seriously doubt that. I just think that Box is saving them to be brought on board after, by the time that the final battle happens. I believe that is when Box is going to bring out them. I really wouldn't think the tank tab is the tank slots are so cheap, and the Leopard 2s are so necessary in certain kind of fights. But of course, trying to go 1v1 against the Aprons, the Leopards are just going to lose. So the Leopards are going to be kept in the reserve until it's time.
Here we see the loss of the F-111 here. Now to the Ihawks. Yeah, it can't be used in the airspace itself, not without seed, and this only seed that you... Oh, you don't get any seed as 8th. So, yeah, only thing you get is the extra ECM potentially. Oh my god, what is this M1A1 doing? It's showing rear armor. Oh, that was a potential disaster there. But luckily for Starbreaker, nothing shooting at that M1A1. Like that, I don't know how that click happened, but that must have been a hard skip moment there when Starbreaker realized it as well. At least saving it before it got too deep into the enemy lines. And yeah, by now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 M1A1s in the south. That's a really big amount of heavy tanks here, and we don't have many options against it. Yeah, we see the first Leo 2A3 here now on the other side. So they are here. They come with veterancy, obviously. Wooden box, not gonna make the mistake of bringing them unvetted. But yeah, we see the first one of the bad boys, and they are necessary to level up the Leo 1A1 blob here to actually deal some damage in fights against M1A1. Ooh, M110s sniping at M1A1 here? Yes, they do. And I really wish we would see more artillery from Starbreaker. The first one finally being called out here.
22 minutes in, Stahlberger is bringing out artillery, and I am traditionally, I have not been a fan of buying artillery early because a lot of people just don't get the value out of them. But when it comes to this kind of a long range slug fight, of people throwing big punches from long range, units being very immobile, formations taking very predictable positions. This is where artillery gets its money's worth, of where you can get your money's worth out when it comes to the artillery.
I like
And
Starbreaker's idea here as well, as the artillery comes immediately in with a counter battery. Trying to call the bluff on Wooden Box actually spots now that the M110s have been repositioned, so we'll switch the target there. Wooden Box so far been pretty good at moving them, but this time around stays on the same spot. A couple of good follow-up hits here on the M110 on that spot could be the death of the brethren on the other side. We will see how that goes, but at the same time, M1A1's here under heavy fire, but we see a push from Starbreaker even coming around now, so let's see how that goes as the Leo 2A3 and the Jaguar coming around on the flank, and here comes again the Mehrzweckwaffe. Oh no, and it's once more 3 infantry spots directly next to each other, 2 of them getting deleted. Mehrzweckwaffe under fire by the Ihawk, under fire by double F-16. Good kill this time around onto this important duel of a Wooden Box. Whilst both sides taking heavy losses in this fight, but better kills so far for Stahl. Losing an M1A1 though now.
I just think that and in this point when it's so equal, one of these sides has to attack, and it just seems like the attacking side is just gonna have the worst position here, and I really can't. I really don't think that if Box was attacking here, that this fight would be going as like so well for him. But on the other hand, Box is also the one with the most artillery, so Stahlbreaker is kind of incentivized to be on the offensive.
Yeah, M1A1's here now getting stuck, getting engine critted. That is pretty unfortunate. Oh, Jaguar with another good hit against another one of them in the south. The trades until the last step. I feel like Starbreaker should have kind of faked that attack, because the Wooden Box moved a couple of units into the wrong spots, which got punished quite quickly, but then Stahl moved a bit too deep and lost the units. But yeah, waiting to try to get some points onto the board with both sides basically having no points on the board yet, so it would be a draw in the current state of things, which is obviously not ideal for either player, but yeah, both sides with heavy casualties here. Though Stahl running out of infantry now. Like the mech rifles, I think, should have waited in the forest. Them moving in the open through the forest was a bit of a mistake. And oh, this mech rifle law in the south needs to get out immediately. Yeah, there we go. Moving out, and the Abrams still getting good trades here right now. All the Leo 1s not shooting. They don't want to get risked being fired upon by M1A1s. And the infantry this time around by Wooden Box currently getting bullied by the heavy tanks of Stahlbrecher.
Yeah, something I don't think we've mentioned is that the Leopard 1A1s have a very short range. They have obsolete optics, which means that they can only engage ground targets at 1,925-meter range, whereas the Abrams engage at over 300 meters further. Leopard 2s also engage on max range, as well as the modernized Leopard 1A5s, which we are seeing here right now. But this means that any kind of an attack that is done with these Leopard 1A1s, 1A1A1s, it would require them to push into the open. And this is why kind of these attacks from Stahlbrecher are just not they just don't they're not they're allowing Wooden Box's tanks to stay in the cover and move out when it best suits them. Instead, if Wooden Box was attacking, these tanks would be moving against long range weapons with very little armor.
Stahlbrecher with a really good idea. Tried to bring a ranger leader with a Black Hawk helicopter into Alpha, but the Wooden Box was ready with a couple of Fliegerfausts protecting the coast. If that would have succeeded, he would have gotten a 200-point lead or so, forcing a Wooden Box to be the aggressor here, and that would have obviously been a devastating moment for a Wooden Box with the strength of defense on both sides here in the south. At the same time, also, the MR10 of Stahlbrecher continuously counter-battering here, finally found the Panzermörser, close to killing off 2 more, but not quite able to do that. And now a Wooden Box, though, calling the blowing into the horn, calling the Gondor cavalry to the attack here, the Rohan cavalry to the attack. A lot of Leos and Jaguars pushing through the open here, but there's a good amount of ATGMs on the other side as well here. Bradleys, M1A1s, Itos, all firing all of full cylinders. It's lower numbers for Stahlbrecher, but higher quality, so let's see how this assault goes. So far, high losses on both sides. A Leo 2A3 was taken out in the town here. Bradley, I think, there with an important TOW 2 hit. And yeah, I don't think this is going anywhere for a Wooden Box right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what we saw. The Leopard 1A1s are just not, they're too slow, they're too vulnerable, and they don't have good enough optics to engage. So a single
Important movement in the south, though. Fallschirmjäger here. Ooh. Coming in against the M1A1. They have a Panzerfaust 3, which can one-shot the M1A1, especially with a side shot, so...
And it gets stunned!
Yeah, this is the end of the M1A1. Really important movement there by Wooden Box. That takes out one of the most important defensive positions here for Stahlbrecher, as that flanked all the units that pushed out of the town directly down that main road. And also the Fallschirmjäger now being a bit of a shenanigans here in the side, where Stahlbrecher currently has no infantry to spare anymore. A couple more Wreck Rifles coming in. Has to be careful there to not lose them to the Marder that is down the road. Yeah, unloads them a bit earlier now. And M1A1's currently relatively damaged, so they have to be repaired. M60 goes down around here as well. Yeah, both sides relatively low on forces right now. Like, next to no infantry left for a Wooden Box. A lot of Leo 1s and Marders still, but the tanks and ATGMs on the other side still good enough to deal with that. And on the other side, so few mech rifles here left for Stahlbrecher as well. This game really grinded to a halt. And yeah, the Fliegerfaust so clutch here for a Wooden Box that they stopped the Ranger leader from getting into Alpha. Otherwise, this game would have a completely different dynamic right now.
Yeah, at this point of the game, even though Wooden Box has less units on the ground here, Wooden Box still has the 2 vetted up massive cannons, the howitzers behind here. So all of these units, whether they be Itos or mech rifles, Dragon or Abrams, they're not just expensive units. They are expensive and easily targetable victims of the artillery. If Wooden Box had done this earlier, this push, this could be maybe going the other way. But right now, the this current engagement, as long as Box can keep it up by sacrificing cheap units, the artillery can take out some key expensive Abrams.
Yeah, M1A1 here in engagement with Leo 1A1. In the south, Jaguar 2 not quite up there. Dragons getting a good kill as well. Falchamiga getting taken out. The Leo actually getting the kill onto the M1A1, which just moved a slight bit too much into this with the side and actually getting side shotted there by the Leo 1A1. Jaguar 2 now pushing a bit too deep as well, though. Has to hopefully smoke off here in a second. Doesn't use its smoke. It's dead. So, yeah, both sides here still losing more and more units. There are only 2 M1A1s left here, but on the other side, yeah, it's a lot of Leo 1A1s. A lot of them already damaged, though. And against Mech Rifle Dragons, against Itos, and against M1A1s, they are not the tool that you want to use. Like, you maybe could hammer it home here as a Wooden Box, but it would really be blunt force with the wrong tool, just relying on numbers.
Yeah, I mean, you could theoretically, having the smoke mortars, that you only have one left.
Oh, this is important though. The M1A1s.
No, it gets
Oh,
stunned.
it's going to die. It moves the wrong direction as well. If it would have moved forward, it was on the forward part of the circle. Obviously, we see that Stahlbrecher doesn't. But yeah, if it would have moved forward, it would have survived.
Level up to one of the howitzers.
Yeah, M110s going up to level 3 as they already killed at least 2 M1A1s, damaged a good couple of other units, killed off a good couple of other units. These M110s really being a menace against Stahlbrecher here. M60 here being a good tool at bullying the Leo 1A1s in the open down here, as it has the 2275 meter range, whilst being only slightly more expensive than the Leo 1A1s. But it should be careful to not get too close, as once they can retaliate, the M60 has a tough time with the numbers. And yeah, here we go. The big Leo 1A1 push after the M1A1 did fall in north. Oh, I haven't seen that turret collapse yet.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even know they could. So much damage being brought on that silo that it just completely evaporates. And that animation also looked pretty dope there. So yeah, a good Ito position gone. Next one, though, being already found there for the next Ito. But yeah, the M110's absolute MVP so far here for a Wooden Box.
Yeah, just can't fire enough missiles and rounds to suppress or to stop this blob well enough. And every single moment that you have your units in a good position, that good position is currently being targeted by the minus 60% aim time, 22 seconds M11A0A2G. The elite veterancy, minus 60% reload time, minus 45% aiming time. It's an incredible weapon here.
Yeah, the M110 here getting the better of the M1A1s. Like, those kills with those M110s so important. Stahlberg here did a really good job for a long while getting them always to switch positions up a bit. But yeah, here in the end game, maybe just fatigued a bit, because obviously that game took forever for both sides to play. And yeah, now the position is just crumbling here for Stahlbrecher. Investing into the north, into a counter push, trying to win the game there, but that obviously costs you points that you don't invest into the holding into the south. And I feel like that might be what is missing right now in the south to stop that snowball. And that might have been the plunder here on Stahlbrecher's side, which going for the win there instead of trying to hold the draw. And yeah, now it just gets overrun in the south. Leo 1A1s here. If there would be another, it would have been 1 or 2 more M1A1s, it could have been enough, but instead, it's now the victory here for the Wooden Box. Not enough units around anymore, and yeah, clean victory in the end for Wooden Box after a long, drawn-out clutch match here. What a game!
Yeah, this was I mean, for, like, Wooden Box's discipline in not overextending was amazing, and I don't really know what I don't know if I could have done better at being Stylebreaker. Just the eternal defense when you're facing a division that doesn't necessarily scale the best into the late game, but the well controlled artillery and the periodical MW1s that would stop these infantry pushes, they were just so much. The positioning of Box's units since very start were pretty smart. The You can see that the Fallschirmparler Milans got a bunch of good hits in Abrams as well as the M60s, and even if the Leopard 1A1A1s are mediocre tanks can be right-clicked forward efficiently, whereas stuff like mech rifles and Leopard M1 Abrams can't. So I don't Stahlbrecher got was put into a very bad situation, and I think just the changing the plan from his side early game, going into a bunch more artillery and trying to force Box into attacking could have actually yielded better results. So that's, I think, is. But of course, we don't know how much artillery the eighth infantry deck had. Though, if you're playing eighth in this meta competitively and you don't have artillery, that's a skill issue right there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Stahl had a good couple of artillery pieces. I mean, we saw it MR10 that actually did a decent job. And the second one, I think, if they would have, if Stahl would have brought out two at a time and started with the counter battery like he did, he would have caught out maybe even both MR10s there with the first salvo. That would have been devastating. Unfortunately, only one wasn't quite able to get the kill there. Maybe the F111 should have been artillery piece instead. I think that's a two legs thing in general, where you should maybe step down a bit when it comes to bombers in the mid game and just invest more into artillery, because the airspace is not that big, whilst the unit concentration on the ground is so high that artilleries always find a target. And yeah, the M1A1s actually did pretty well here, but yeah, once they were taken out, the game was kind of over. Like, the amount of things they killed here, the kill lists for them is pretty good, but the MR10s finding them, and then the infantry being grinded down by the Metzwerkwaffe a couple of times too many as well, really did finalize the game here. GGVP 2 wooden box in game number 1. Still a solid show here by Startbrecher. Interested to see how it goes in game number 2. Let's go into a short break, guys, and then we will be back with that second map. And here we go again with match number 2 between Wooden Box and Stahlbrecher. This time it's Stahl with the Bundeswehr division coming in with 5th Panzer, which is, I believe, Stahlbrecher's favorite division. We have seen Stahl in past tournaments a lot on them, and they are pretty solid at the moment. We saw them earlier with Tanner working out quite nicely, and they for sure have the advantage in armor and firepower against what 5th Blinde can bring on the other side. But 5th Blinde might be a bit more flexible here. So what do you think here about a Wooden Box's setup so far?
Wooden Box's setup seems to be a pretty regular, standard, like meta game. Not going down south. Only putting up a recon unit there, and instead of trying to use the GSR Special Forces infantry, the Dragon Paras, to get spotting from both in the middle and up north, and then those units being followed up by AMX-10 RCs. To take out any encroaching transports or even lighter vehicles. But and with a Grenadier Voltigeur VAB kind of a standard infantry composition coming here. VABs are very good because they can transport units very fast. They're 90 kph off road. They're only 25 points, and they have a tripod 50 caliber machine gun up top. So they can also, especially 3 of them at the same time, they can suppress and even kill fortified infantry squads, not to mention unfortified infantry squads. I think the more interesting part here is the comparison on the tank buys. We're seeing 3 Leopard 2A3s coming from Stahlbrecher.
It's a Stahlbrecher classic in this regard. It's heavy tanks from the get-go with double AA behind it. Decent recon all around, but obviously it's gonna arrive a bit late. Also, quick shout out to Cheesh and Alex Valin coming in with a $50 and $25 each for the prize pool. So we're up to $146 already, and we're just at the end of week 1 of the tournament. So big thanks to all of you guys. WARNO League prize pool already becoming really real here now. So yeah, even more incentive for these players here to do well. Let's see how the Stahlbrecher Classic with the double AO 2A3 here with the heavy boys will do. It is obviously vulnerable to being outflanked, but if the massive amount of firepower can push through, it can be pretty scary as well.
Yeah, it's actually kind of these are like the platonic ideals of both of these openers on Vertigo here. They are basically mirroring each other with the Fuchs Milans and the VABs, the Roland 3s and the Roland 2s, as well as the tanks and the tanks. The French tanks compensate for their way less technological capacity by being veterans. So they can be, if they get close enough, the reload time advantages, the rate of fire of 11, will help them penetrate the heavier armor of the Leopard 2s. But that, of course, would require Stahlbrecher to allow them to get close. This is, of course, but the micro from the Leopards needs to be good enough here to compensate for the fact that they're going to be the main targets of the French force.
Ooh, and we have a Jaguar HE coming in immediately. Roland 2s not with firing, and oh my goodness, this is already terrible. This is already really terrible, especially as one of them is immediately routed. Oh, yeah, no supply with these guys at all. So
it's showing rear armor. The commander is showing rear armor.
Well,
and
it's running away quick enough that nothing can catch it right now. But the issue is that it means that Stahl will basically have to give up alpha here. Like, has to wait for resupply, can't engage with these Leos until they are repaired. The remaining Leo 2A3 might be able to push for a kill or 2, but not if it gets side-shotted by a Mephisto. This game is not going well for Stahlbrecher at all. The Roland 2s not quite able to do what Roland 3s can do here, and yeah, maybe it was a Leo too much in this opener here. Getting completely picked apart here right now. Fuchs Milan's down, Roland 2 down. This is an absolute disaster of a start. Jaguar AT already on the hunt as well. At least Leos get out of line of sight here. Roland with 1 hit, and F4F coming out to get the kill there, potentially. Can it find the missiles? It doesn't seem to be able to, but it can find the gun, so at least the Jaguar goes down, but oh my god, what a terrible opener here for Stahlbrecher.
Yeah, and a wooden box is exploiting the fact that the AMX-10, the southern side is clear by having the AMX-10 go down south. But actually, AMX-10 getting engaged by the Milan 2s, so it's not going to be able to kill Stahlbrecher's recon looks and the Iltis leader. Iltis leader is going to Charlie, trying to get some compensation for the points and for the lost site at Alpha. And meanwhile, Wooden Box ordering both a leader and two commando squads to capture the warehouse area at Delta.
Yeah, and Leo 283's here trying to pick a fight, but both getting too close to the MX-30s. They get the later Leo MX-30, but both Leo 283's dying, and that's not worth it. Like, they should have taken maybe one shot, but then smoked off, and they stayed into the fight for a bit too long. Though there was not much to retreat towards but they had the Unimox finally coming up. The Pa might have been able to save them then, but yeah, now all three Leos are dead, and that's devastating. The fight now might have to be brought to the south. Yeah, that's what you were pointing out to, with Stahlbrecher getting the Iltis down here, but the Commando, really clever reaction here by Wooden Box, shutting down that possibility most likely immediately as well, and it's such a horrible start here for Stahlbrecher. Everything's just going wrong from the get-go.
Yeah, that was the all eggs in the same basket wisdom does apply here, especially when you have these units, these tanks deployed so closely together that a single dive bomber airstrike can hit both of them perfectly. The AMX-10s and the Dragon Paras were deployed in a way to achieve maximum visibility on the reinforced route, and the Jaguar was called right at the right time. So the Box's plan worked perfectly there, and if Stahlbrecher is gonna is going to recover from this, that's going to require Stahlbrecher to actually get the initiative in a way that at this point is very difficult to get.
Yeah, we also see the MX-10 RC now in a commanding position over this crossroad in the north, being able to disengage there out of it as well. F4F trying to engage the Mirage 200, which at least fired a couple of its missiles already. F4F not able to get the kill though, and the Roland 3 still in range. Yeah, the Roland 3 versus Roland 2 differentials here in accuracy, damage, and range really showed off the extra radar and better missiles here on the Roland 3. Really winning engagement after engagement here for a Wooden Box that Stahlbrecher would have loved to have had. And yeah, really investing into Roland 3s maybe instead of Roland 2s together with the Leo 2A3s. Maybe having one Leo 1A5 instead of a Leo 2 Leo 2A3s there might have been the better start. But that's all hindsight 2020. And yeah, it's not going to end well here for Stahlbrecher, I fear.
Yeah, even like a single cheap fighter could have maybe routed the bomber or bought some time for the tanks, but the execution was so perfect from Wooden Box, and if anybody has experience playing ladder on ladder, it's one of the ways to climb easily is to do openers with a lot of HE bombers, because being able to take out early concentrations of units or early key units using combinations of recon and bombers. My personal favorites are the 150-point Harriers with massive bomb loads. Using those will get you a lot of points, but also your opponents will call you an air spammer and a cheeser and a scumbag.
Roland 3's here, trying to go for the PA helicopter. Will find the kill there. Pioneer for Pioneer Armbrust in the open, getting eliminated by the MX-30s. Lux trying to come in, and yeah, it's not going well. It's really not going well for Stahlbrecher. No, none of the moves here really working out. Like the southern point captured at least reduce it to take a bit for now, but even there, it's not really any trains gained. Focus Milan missing 2 missiles in a row against a close VAB. That's just unfortunate at this point, but Dragon Para bullying back the Jäger Aufklärer there in the south. Luxus getting caught everywhere. It's like Starbreaker trying all the right moves here to try to come back, but it's just too far of a game and too good of an opponent with Wooden Box to let that really happen. A Wooden Box knows how to play from an advantage like this and doesn't let the pressure stop anywhere, and taking one good fight after another, as Stahl is just not capable of getting a combined arms together anywhere.
Yeah, this is the wooden box is just pressing the advantage. Remember, kids, when you're ahead, get further ahead. Don't just start feeling sad for your opponent. You have a game to win.
And yeah, it's 9 minutes in, and we have a +6 for Wooden Box, all but one zone controlled, and that zone is under heavy contestants as well. Those Jaegers are not feeling comfortable down there with the Gazelle Cannons around them. Fuchs Milan being pushed back. F4F at least gets a kill in the north, but the Roland 3s and the Mirage 200 most likely gonna end it as well. Not quite. F4F actually gonna live for now, but that's the only engagement that really works out right now in the battle.
Yeah, really just a game where there is not that much to analyze, except that the opener went perfectly. The opener from Stahlbrecher, at least according to you, was quite predictable. And Wooden Box, being a man about town, knows about this kind of stuff. So how about you don't be predictable against Wooden Box?
Yeah, and the opener really just like the Leo 2A3s were a good idea if they would have been able to engage on the ground, but losing the one that actually could have done something then also to the Mephisto, which obviously at this moment where you see those bombs hit, you see your 2 tanks routed, you're obviously already having your hearts down and you feel like you need to do something for that Leo 2A3, but it was over eager movement, and then when the Leo 2A3 in the north died, it was just GG at that point, and Stahl, yeah, getting a really unfortunate game 2 here after a really, really hard fought game 1. Second one being a lot quicker here. Wooden Box just pressuring through and getting the 2-0 victory, making the position in the group quite uncomfortable for Stahl now. And yeah, Wooden Box with a decent step towards next group, but 2 tough opponents remaining in this group, with a win necessary at least against one of them to get through, with Neff and Leifens. So this is still not over, but a good start here for Wooden Box in the group stage.
Yeah, Wooden Box will move. Could you show the groups again? I don't remember with who else was in Box's group.
It's Leifens and Neff, as I said, and so
Oh,
it's
I mean,
yeah, it's
Gnef is held the number one spot on ladder for some time, but certain little birds have been singing about the this point not necessarily being due to the superior gameplay, but the very shameless usage of the French paratroopers. Their super annoying openers. I believe Gnef is not holding the number one spot anymore. And Lathan's obviously a classic top player, a innovator in many respects, but we haven't seen Lathan's stream lately, so don't know if Lathan's is how washed up is Lathan's exactly. We will see.
well, Leifens has been practicing a good bit lately again as well, and yeah, Neff has been a top player in Eugene games ever since at least Steel Division Normally 44. Has played a good amount of Act of Aggression, actually. One of the few really active Act of Aggression players that were around in that game. Steel Division Normally 44 already played a good couple of tournaments there with good success. Has played a lot of Steel Division 2 leagues in the past with good success there in top divisions as well. And yeah, finally show here in a big high competition WARNO tournament as well, after playing I think 1 or 2 monthlies before. And I'm actually really looking forward to Neff's play here. And yeah, with Icarus winning against Monkey in Group A here, we have a couple more interesting games forward versus Tanner here, obviously being a draw. So these groups all still looking pretty hot. We're gonna cover more of this in the upcoming days. Dark Neutron, I know, practicing a lot. Yuki Poor, I think, is at the moment rank 1. Yeah, currently rank 1, so a lot of top players in here. And yeah, thanks to your support, guys. They have a lot to fight for now. Thanks to the $146 in prize pool. Thanks for all the people claiming the 25-cent free codes. Thanks for the direct support. Once more, big shout out to Sheesh and Alex Wallen here, coming in with another $75 on top of this already nicely looking prize pool now. Yeah, starting to catch up to the previous league seasons, and yeah, this is going to be a hot Division 1 for sure.
Yes, Cheech is giving offerings to the Warno gods to prevent the RM70s from getting killed by Lukes again. And if I could here in the end just ask for the audience to considering the game's player base has been going and growing so fast after the release. How about you? How about when you're playing out your 10v10s, you're going out in your Discord servers and you're hanging around with your pals who you casually play Warno with? How about you name drop the WARNO League every once in a while? How about we go into the war chat and we talk about how amazing this and that game was? And how about we maybe mention that people who are just getting into the game and want a quick way to learn a bunch of the basic mechanics and kind of understand about what Warno can be on the top levels. How about you people talk about the league a little bit? Yeah, let's not all be such Northern European Protestants, quiet and humble. Let's actually be proud about this little project we got going on. And you viewers have your duty or your task here to tell people about the league that is happening.
Yeah, and yeah, with that, we gonna end it for today, guys. But I at least gonna be back soon, as I'm gonna be back tomorrow morning, actually. As in the upcoming days, my work is starting a bit later than usual, so I will have the mornings free to stream for you guys. So we were gonna stream WARNO League with a couple of lower division games tomorrow morning. I'm not sure if Chloride can join us there. I haven't talked with him about that yet. But yeah.
I most likely will, and I'm considering we have so many games here that are not even getting casted, including pro commies games that we chose not to cast for today. I think I actually might just might cast these on my own stream. Yesterday, I wanted to have a streaming day for myself, but unfortunately, a bunch of very happy social events happened, so I couldn't do that. But I will actually absolutely be casting some of the at least the Division 1 games because I'm personally interested into them.
So yeah, check out Chloride's channel as well, guys, if you're interested in that. Link in the chat right now. And leave a follow over there so you see when he's up as well. And yeah, with that said, guys, we're gonna end it here for today. But yeah, don't be too sad. If you don't want to miss any streams, be there tomorrow morning. And yeah, leave a follow. Thanks, Blunt Wolf, Epoch, FPS, Bean Greedy TV, Undead, and the Flying Ryan for the latest follows as well. It has been amazing the last couple of days, and yeah, we're not gonna stop here anytime soon. So let's find somebody to rate here.
P-Bat is streaming.
Yeah, let's go over to Pivot. Ooh, always lovely Warno streams there as well. So have fun over there, guys. Leave some love over there, and see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh, it takes longer than expected.